Let's roll. The Twisted Tuesday has begun. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between along for the ride from Costa Rica to California, Montreal to Minnesota, and I don't know, man, from Virginia to Vancouver. I don't know, do we have anybody in Virginia? Steve Merrill's in Virginia. All right, welcome to the Late Night Anger Management class. Welcome to the SBR YouTube page as we step up and in. Still recovering from Vancouver, as you can tell. Like I said last night, I actually feel better than I sound. I don't know. I've always waited for my voice to finally just die. But maybe we're here. Maybe the funeral procession has begun. Normally, as the show goes on, it'll start to get better. When I say better, I never really ever sounded like Adele to begin with, to be honest with you. So we'll be with you. There will be no 3 or 4 hour show this evening. Yeah, it was over the top, man. We didn't get a chance to really wrap up and recap Vancouver, but man, it was over the top. We took the red eye. We don't sleep on planes, so I didn't sleep at all yesterday. And I got to be honest with you, I wasn't really fully aware that I was going to be on at 7:40. And as I sort of realized, I'm like, man, of all days, this isn't good, man. My throat, my voice is gone. Well, we got through last night about what? How long was that? 6 hours, 6.5 hours, whatever the hell it felt like. You know, people are like, oh, what a great classic game. Well, yeah, the last couple of minutes were pretty good. But we got some games on the board this evening, and because evidently God likes to fucking torture me, the Lakers are playing tonight. So we have to get ready for a fucking ambush of, hey, fuckface, show the game. In which I'll respond, hey, fuckface, buy a television set, you piece of shit. See, my voice is already getting better. All right, so my NBA picks have sucked fucking rocks tonight. My college picks haven't been bad. I hit the Georgetown Hoyas plus the points. I'm on Marquette right now. If you watch the show, you know I'm on Marquette earlier today. I'm on Marquette. What are they? +1. I'm on the Michigan Wolverines +1.5. They're at the half right now. So if you want to get in on that, if you believe in Michigan, I think you're getting a decent number right now. I think Michigan can come back and win this game. Now, listen, Purdue were a trendy pick today. Everybody loved Purdue because it was a double revenge spot, and Michigan beat them last year, and Purdue or whatever, and then knocked them out in the Big Ten tournament. You know, I looked at it like Michigan were getting points on their home court. I didn't look at it like, ooh, big bad Purdue. We should note that it was 30-16 in this game. Purdue were kicking the crap out of them early, but Michigan is slow starters. They just are. They always have been under Beeline. It's frustrating, but it is what it is. You've got to deal with it. But they weathered the original storm. They're back in the game right now. It's 39-32 at the half. Second half number is Michigan minus 1.5. In game is you get Michigan +6.5 essentially. That's -0.5 a point. Now, the Oklahoma City Thunder, every time I think the Thunder have turned a corner, they really haven't. This is an embarrassing loss tonight. You know, it's one thing to lose to the Portland Trailblazers, but they don't even have Damian Lillard, and you're getting fucking killed by the Portland Trailblazers. You're not just losing, you're getting smoked. NHL hockey. We are on the Nashville Predators. They're up 2-1 right now with 13 minutes remaining. I'm on the Minnesota Wild. That's not going well. Fucking Minnesota. That's not going well. There's no late night hockey. We do have some late night basketball on the board. And, of course, it's got to be the LA Lakers. Now, I already put my play in on this game because I figured the total would go up, and it did. So I gave it earlier in the day at 212. It was 212.5. I played at 212. It's up to 213.5 right now. We're on the over of this game, and This game has sort of perplexed me in that I really don't want my money on either team, to be honest with you. The Sacramento Queens have been a disappointment to me. I was expecting more. What's the coach? Jaeger? He's a good coach, but he hasn't been able to figure out the motherfucking rotation. They've got good players, yet they really haven't figured it out. The same old Sacramento Kings. Same old Kings. Yet, do you really want to be laying 8 points with this Laker team that have a lot of injuries as well? I think the Sacramento Kings are the play. Now, listen, guys. I don't want people bitching at me in 2 hours. Oh, Morency, you said you like the Kings. This is far from a play of the day. It's the one NBA game left on TV because they like to torture us with Laker games for some reason all the time. Why are the Lakers on TV? I don't know. But, as I stated, you really want to lay 8 points with the Lakers? Now, the Lakers have a lot of injuries, too. Now, I never fucking know, guys, with basketball, man. Maybe somebody else knows more than I do if you're in LA or something. They never release the starting lineups in the NBA. And the NBA is a whacked-out league where the players are all soft and shit. These motherfuckers fucking sneeze and they're out for the night. I don't know, coach, I sneezed. Come on, Michigan. Come up with a couple of stops here. I'll tell you one thing about Michigan. They never quit. And there'll be free throws. I'm telling you guys right now, I'm jumping in on this. I'm going big on it too. Well, bigger. Get it in. Over 147.5 in game right now. Purdue and Michigan. Purdue's going to go on a little run to start the half here. Michigan always starts slow. And then Michigan will hit a couple of threes. Oh, you can get it at 146.5 right now. Look, it's 44-32, and the second half just started. There's going to be points. Like I said, Beeline does not quit. Michigan do not quit. And it's the one good thing about betting a Michigan over is these motherfuckers will fucking play the old college game to the final whistle. They'll foul, they'll hit free throws, they'll hit a three. You can get a bunch of points late in a Michigan game. I just clicked over. I got over 147.5 because I'm a sucker. You can get it 146.5 right now, although Michigan are on the free throw line. And the fucking punk misses. Settle down, Morency. I've really been in more football mode with all the bowl games and the NFL and everything. Basketball upsets me, man. Guys missing layups and free throws. It gets to me. All right, so so we're on the over in the Lakers King game. See, I'm not getting mad. We understand. We're here to gamble. So I'm getting this out of the way right now, but I don't want to repeat it 99 times. I'm on the Sacramento Kings, kind of small, and I'm on the over because they're both clusterfuck idiots. So let's just hope that they don't play defense you don't expect either of them to. And we get to the over in this game. And I don't trust the Lakers laying 8 points with all the injuries that they have. They've got a lot of guys that are out. Half the team's hurt on the Lakers. Hey, Michigan, boom, 3-ball, 46-36. Fucking Dallas Mavericks pulling away a little bit from Orlando. Son of a bitch. I had a parlay, Dallas Mavericks and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Fucking Oklahoma City can't even beat a Damian Lillard-less team. What's up, Truth? What's up, David Hutton? How you doing, buddy? Hey, what up, Stooch the Man? No, I used to have a policy, Stooch the Man. I used to not rip college kids. Hard to believe, but it's true. I used to not rip college kids. I'd rip the coach, I'd rip the ref, but I'd be like, man, I'm not ripping a kid. They're just kids. They're not getting paid. Don't blame them. I discarded that policy. I now rip college kids. They're not kids, fuck. And they are getting paid. What's up, Eric Leduc? Do I look refreshed, Kyle? Listen to me. I sound like shit. How did your day go, Kyle? I want to thank you for coming down. Bravo to Kyle Hamburg. Met him in Atlanta. Well, we met him in Costa Rica, but Kyle's working his way into the Sports Rage Hall of Fame, shows up to Vancouver. And I saw you on Twitter, talking about, I saw you in Vancouver talking about Delta. What up, Jet Ann in LA? What up, LA? All right, so it looks like everybody, Johnny Kicknuts. What up, Johnny? A lot of guys in Cali in the house tonight. And even you guys are all saying, man, you can't lay 8.5 points with the Lakers, 8 points. Here comes Michigan, 46-42. What up, Richie Rich? Anthony Rizzo, New York City. You sound like a guy. Anthony Rizzo sounds like a New York City name. Big man on campus throwing it down. What up, big man? Mick Aussie fucking fell face first. We actually have a guest, that I did not introduce. That's unfucking believable. So after all that, you missed the fucking game. Oh, dear God. Is that Sterator? Yeah, it's Kyle Hamburg. Mick Aussie was standing on the sidewalk and actually fell face first, except he held onto his beer bottle, so he fell face first onto a beer bottle. You can't make this shit up. Mick Aussie really is one of the toughest guys. You know the episode of The Simpsons where like fucking Homer fights like Boxcar Willie and shit? That's Mick. Like Mick could be in the UFC. I don't know if he could land a punch, but we fucking know he could take one. Yeah, we know that. And then the next night, we got kicked out of a strip club. I won't say who was responsible for getting us kicked out. Me. I got us kicked out of a strip club. And so I'm like, all right, guys, let's get out of here. So we leave the strip club, except shit got pretty fucking hostile on the way out. I thought I was going to get beat up by the security type shit. Like they grabbed me, all right, let's go, tough guy. I was like, oh, fuck, these guys aren't fucking around. Like, so they grabbed me and shit. And they're fucking big dudes. And I'm really mouthing off, man. And I told them, I'm going to fucking rip you guys so fucking good, man. I got fucking, because people are like, hey, man, that guy's on TV and shit. And they're like, I don't give a shit. He's out of here. They're throwing me out, man. And then Buddy's like, I'm going to fucking rip you guys, man, really good on Twitter. I told him. I'm going to let everyone know what a shithole this place is. He's like, well, let them know that we have you on tape fucking saying a lot of bad things to people. I'm like, you guys don't got jack shit. So I'm on the sidewalk and they're like, if you don't get off our property, we're going to fucking hit you. So they're threatening me and shit. So we all leave. Everyone's mouthing off outside the club and shit. It's one of those deals. We're with Mick Aussie. And for some reason, Mick Aussie runs right back, like up towards them. These guys want to murder us. So, like, it's kind of dark. And this is the night after Mick Aussie fell face first on his face. So, Mick's already all fucked up. He was obviously concussed. He's all fucking out of it and shit. He refused to get medical attention. So, we're on the sidewalk, but it's dark and it's always kind of foggy and rainy in Vancouver. So you can't really see. Plus, we're all wasted. So we leave the club, and I was actually concerned for a second. I was like, man, all right, enough mouthing off. Fuck, these guys are going to fucking step out on the sidewalk and kill me. So I fucking like stormed away. I'm walking down the street. We all leave and shit. And Mick doesn't say a word. And we should note when Mick fell face first the night before, he just got up and took off after. Because we said, we're getting you an ambulance. And he was like, no ambulance. And he ran away like Kramer, like that dog, bad dog. And Kramer ran away. Mick put a hood on and ran away through the streets of Vancouver. So then for the second consecutive night, Mick just runs away. That's the thing with Mick. He'll drink all night and he just runs away. Just out of the blue, he'll disappear. So we're outside the strip club, and like I said, it was pretty hostile. And like I'm giving him the finger, and I'm like, fuck you. And they're like, yeah, why don't you come back here? And it was like one of those deals. And then Mick runs right back into it, except we can't see because it's kind of up the hill. And I remember I said to someone, I said, man, I don't know what the fuck Mick's doing. I even yelled, Mick, what are you doing? No, don't go up there, man. And Mick runs up there. And then we all sort of said, did Mick just get tackled? Like, we couldn't really tell. Like, it was kind of like a shadow. And I said, fuck, I think they just tackled Mick, man. So we're kind of looking and shit. And all of us are like, why would he run back up there? Fuck. And it's not like one of these deals where we left him to dry. You know, like you don't leave a buddy to get beat up. But you got to understand. He ran right back into them. Fuck. like we're walking away like, fuck you. And these are big guys. They're big bouncers, man. We're like, fuck you. I'm grabbing my dick. I'm like, you fucking loser. And fucking Mick runs right into them. I'm like, Mick, what are you doing? Fuck. And then I'm like, fuck, I think he just got tackled. So none of us were stupid enough to fucking go back up the hill. Like, all of us were like, I'm not going up there. Like, fucking, like I said, these guys are going to kill me. I was like, there's no way I was going back up that hill. Fuck. Right? So fucking Mick vanishes up the hill. And then I'm like, I don't know, guys. This is what he does. Fuck. All right? Like, I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? So the next day, and we got Chris Meany going to join us in a second. So the next fucking day, we see Mick Aussie, except he looked really bad on Sunday, guys. Like, he looked sick. He was all pale and yellow and shit. Like, we were, you know, and his face was all infected. It's like he said, man, like Kyle told him, you're going to get gangrene, man. Like, the guy's got a Budweiser bottle in his forehead. He's like, no, I don't need the doctor. Even I told him, I said, listen, Mick, you need a doctor. Fuck. I said, your forehead, man, you've got glass in your fucking skull, bro. It's not good. I'm like, I think you're concussed as well. He's like, no, it's nothing. It's nothing. And the thing is, but Mick had, like, he fucked his face up. But when I saw him on Sunday after the Bills game, his face had all these scratches on him and shit. And I told him, I said, you know, Mick, you didn't have those scratches yesterday, even after the fall. I said, what happened last night? He goes, I don't know. I'm like, well, you ran back up there. I said, did they tackle you? He goes, no, but they wouldn't serve me. And like, you tried to go back in there and get a drink. He's like, well, I forgot my credit card in there. And, you know, they had to let me in to get my credit card. So once I got my credit card, I tried to order a drink and they kicked me out. I'm like, no. And he's like, I don't know why they kicked me out. I'm like, well, because we fucking basically spit on the door on the way out. That's why they kicked us out. And I'm like, are you sure they didn't hit you? I was like, man, you look pretty fucked up. And then finally, like, he told me, he goes, yeah, I'll go see a doctor when I get back home. Yeah, Mick had like a blood fucking like handkerchief covered in blood in his pocket. He told us his sheets were covered in blood. That's a great thing to do, Carente. Leave your credit card inside of a strip club. Let's bring Chris Meany in here right now. Chris is smart enough not to leave his credit card inside of his strip club. But Chris knows. He's been to a couple of my live events. He knows shit gets crazy, man. And then we went to the casino after all that. After all that, we stumbled into the casino, and we had no problems in the casino. Security, there was no bad vibes. There was no bad anything like that. That's right. So we're on the Lakers we're on the Lakers Kings over. We're on the Kings and college basketball. I know you guys all want to take Boise State, but no, we're going to take Fresno State on their home court. Going to take Fresno on their home court. Let's go with the over as well. And I also saw another number. San Diego State, San Jose State. San Diego State keep getting blown out so much. The games keep going over the number. So some college basketball picks, but that shit doesn't start till 11 Eastern. But I'll tell you right now, give me Fresno State. We'll go money line. We'll go Fresno, Boise State over 142. And we'll go San Jose State, San Diego State over 135. Let's bring in a colleague of mine right now over at the Fantasy Sports Television Network. And he's a good guy. Really knows sports. Great fantasy sports analyst as well. But I should warn you, he's a fucking Philadelphia Eagle fan. Like all these other motherfuckers for some reason. Everyone loves the Eagles. Chris Meany. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Gabe. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, good stuff. Thanks for joining us. I've been wanting to get you on here since the hockey season started, essentially. But here we are, and I figured, hey, what better night than tonight? Because I saw that article about Vegas and $1 million and stuff, and also with the Philadelphia Eagles played. So what's going on?
Hey, not much, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Definitely a pleasure to come on and join you. Yes, the Eagles. You know, listen, it's basically a shoo-in that they're going to lose. So I don't know if everybody loves the Eagles. Nobody's picking them.
It's funny. I spoke to Big Man on campus earlier today, and he's like, I don't feel very good about this game at all.
He shouldn't. He shouldn't. I mean, it's going to be tough for Nick Foles in that offense to be able to keep up. But there are still a lot of things going their way. We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into this game. So first things first, hockey tonight not going my way right now, dude. I had the Nashville Predators. They're up 2-0.
And the Oilers just tied it.
Yeah, Edmonton just tied it right now. Hopefully we can pull this fucking game out, Chris.
Yeah, that's the last game of a 5-game parlay for me. Tampa Bay just closed it out. I sweated that one out 5-4 Tampa. Got the Hawks earlier, got the Jets. Winnipeg Jets are really good. They're 6-0-1 now since Christmas. And, oh, man, even without Scheifele, they haven't missed a beat.
I swear to God, man, every time I bet on them, they lose. It's like I'm the black cloud.
I'm on the bad night then. Yeah.
It's like I'm the black cloud with these guys. But it's funny you bring up Winnipeg because there's a big story. They're freaking out in Winnipeg right now because evidently they didn't know it is fucking cold and dark in Winnipeg. So the San Jose Sharks, I don't know, which shark was it specifically? There was a couple of them. They weren't trying to be dicks. They didn't go out of the way. They were asked. They were asked. Like it was one of those sort of, rapid fire but, media deals with sort of fun questions. Food, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
What's your favorite restaurant on the road? And then they got to the worst city to play in, worst place, and they didn't hesitate. They all said, oh, Winnipeg. And they're like, why? And they said, well, it's always cold. It's always really dark there. And the Wi-Fi sucks. And people in Winnipeg, they're not taking this too well, Chris. Yet I'd have to say that all three things are probably fucking true.
Yeah. Yes. Have you been? I've been. I was in Winnipeg for the first time in the summer. And I mean, my buddy he lives there and he told me like, man, it is just brutal cold here in the winter. He took me to this one spot where he works on the corner and he says it's the windiest place in the world. Now I didn't think he was full of shit. I bought into it because just in the middle of the summer, it was windy and I could feel it in my face. So yeah, I mean, Brizgalov played there and he hated that. I mean, he was pretty open about it. And I mean, a lot of the fans were pretty upset with him. And he said I'll be honest, it sucks here. It's too cold. I hate it. I can't go outside. It's freezing there.
Yeah. Auburn Wild's got to be freaking, and our boy Gary in Winnipeg's got to be really upset. Yeah, they're sensitive about it. But the thing is, Listen, I'm from Montreal, Chris. If you tell me that it's fucking too cold in Montreal, what am I going to do? Get mad at you? Like,
Yeah, and we choose where we live. I mean, I'm
I'm
living
going to
in
say yes.
Toronto.
It's
It's
cold.
cold. I'm from out east. It's cold. It's cold. I tell you what, though, in Winnipeg, that building will be rocking. It'll be the best. Them and Nashville, the best
That
buildings
I
around.
swear, that'll motivate them, and it's true. If I'm the Winnipeg Jets, I like that stuff.
Oh yeah,
I like it. I'd make T-shirts right now, about it. You sort of embrace it, sort of like the Raptors have done. Look, the Raptors used to be like, oh fuck, man, you got to play up there in Canada. It's cold and shit. Now look at it. We the North, and they changed it. Now they got beer sponsors and shit, and people are standing outside in the cold watching their games. It's amazing what a little tweak can do, and a chip on your shoulder can do. I get it. People in Winnipeg are always going to have a chip on their shoulder. But I remember, I swear to God, I did a weekly hit in Winnipeg for years. They threw me under the bus because they didn't like something I said one week. And I got suspended from a station I don't work for, Chris, if that's possible. All right, hey, the Wild Tide, good shit. Yeah. Can you turn your volume up a little bit, Chris, if you can? I'm turning you up. I was wondering the same thing.
How's that sound? A little bit better there?
There you go. Just with the settings. So, yeah, when I was on Winnipeg radio, you remember when Evander Kane got traded? All right, Michigan 50-49, down by 1. You remember when Evander Kane got traded from Winnipeg to Buffalo? I said, fuck, poor Evander Kane, man. I said he goes from Winnipeg to basically America's Winnipeg and Buffalo. And I said this on Winnipeg radio, and they fucking flipped, dude. How dare you? What are you saying? And it's like people in Winnipeg were somehow upset, like they think that they're way better than Buffalo. And I told them on the air, they didn't like it. I was like, guys, you're kind of like the worst 2 cities in the league. I hate to tell you this, but hey, don't you? Hey, if the Buffalo Sabres offer me a contract, I'll gladly fucking play for them. If the Winnipeg Jets want me to be the 3rd string goalie, I'm fucking there.
Yeah, of course you are.
Winnipeg, I'm there. But let's be real. NHL players would rather play for the Tampa Bay Lightning than the Winnipeg Jets. It's just a fact.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot about the environment, and even you brought up a good point in Tampa Bay. I mean, well, you bring up Montreal too. Radulov. I mean, he goes play in Dallas. I follow him on Instagram. I see the videos, and he's loving it in the nice weather and by the pool and exploring the world and things like that. But you don't need to be the 3rd string goalie in Winnipeg. They got themselves Connor Hellebuck. He's having a hell of a year. He's going to be in that Vezina conversation by the end of the season. That's for sure.
Here, Chris, you're an NBA guy too. Chris does NBA DFS for the NBA Network, NBA. Sacramento Kings and Lakers tonight, Chris. Who's hurt for the Lakers tonight? Like, it seems like there's a lot of day-to-day injuries. Do you know right now who's in, who's out?
I have to take a look at it actually right now for the Lakers. I mean, the NBA is. I mean, it's starting to look a lot like last season of the past couple of weeks with guys just so many injuries. You really have to just keep an eye on it right up until tip off. For the Lakers, I'm not seeing anything right now of players going to be able to sit out tonight. They've been messing around with some of the rotations. Certainly, their big man in Randall. Well, it sounds like Lonzo Ball's going to play tonight, Gabe. I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah, no, everyone's cleared up. Everyone went from questionable to you're right.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on.
Cleared up. Yeah, Lonzo I thought was a decent fantasy pick for tonight. I hopefully De'Aaron Fox lights this motherfucker up. I just clicked Sacramento, guys. I'm already on the over, but we just took Sacramento. It was 8.5. I bought a half point up to 9 points. Give me Sacramento plus 9. We'll check back in with the college basketball picks, the 11 o'clock games in a couple of minutes. So Minnesota Wild. Did the Wild just tie this shit up?
And Fox is a nice play. We talked with Tony Sincata today about NBA in play, and Gabe, we're just loving it here over at the household, the Meany household, bringing in some NBA fantasy money. They're giving out gift cards. It's crazy for all the basketball fans out there. You can play this game, NBA in play. You follow along with the game. You pick a guy per quarter. Fox was our first quarter play today, averaging the most fantasy points on that team in the first quarter. So he gets a lot of minutes, and he's getting a lot of minutes lately too. So I'm interested to see if they can start off with just a hot start here today.
Well, I got to stand up to what I said. I said at the time, I like De'Aaron Fox better than Lonzo Ball.
Man.
The thing is with Fox, he hasn't fully had an opportunity. Now, everyone said Edmonton tied it. This is what happens when I believe the chat. Did they take the goal back? Because I see it's 2-1 right now.
It's 2-1 with 59 seconds left. Oilers got the timeout. Yeah, it wasn't tied. They must have called it back. Letestu goal. Oilers, looking at that article, Gabe, talking about Vegas and Stanley Cup odds, 10-1. I feel like I was just one of the few that was not buying into this Oilers team. They're worse than the Canadiens. This team is the fourth worst team in the NHL. They can't score.
Yeah, let's not hold on. Let's not rip them until they lose the game here, Chris. Hold on.
You on the Oilers?
No,
you think what I say is going to matter? Like McDavid hears me and he's going to pot one and tie it up.
Yes.
No.
So you don't believe in like the announcer no hitter curse and shit like that?
No, I don't think it's. Every time I do hear it, I kind of say and chuckle like, "Oh, it's going to happen now. You just ruined it." But no, it's. And I don't see a point in them. Why do they even bring it up? Why do they even say it? Like, why put yourself in that situation? Don't say it.
I don't care about that shit either. The only time I hate it is when they talk about field goal kickers. Fuck. It doesn't bother me like a no-hitter or goalie shutout. I hate when they talk about a field goal kicker. They're like, he's 13 for 13 from this distance. I'm like, fuck off.
Usually that's when it happens. Right after that, this game's over. They won it.
Predators win.
Predators are going to win the Stanley Cup this year, Gabe.
Yeah, I'm on it. Let's go. Let's go, Preds. They got back-to-back. Exactly. Back-back. They got unfinished business. Yeah. Predators win. And now let's get that fucking Minnesota Wild bet home, and that'd be real nice right there. So, so this is the article, guys, that I saw today in the Las Vegas Review-Journal. In early December, early December when the Golden Knights were 17-9-1, William Hill Sportsbook director Nick Bodanovich uttered a classic quote, "We get killed if they'll make the playoffs, and close if they make the Stanley Cup." So anyways, long story short, Will Hill in Vegas is on the hook for $1 million right now if Vegas win the Stanley Cup. And it's basically becoming a crazy betting story right now. All right, so here it is. If you would bet $100 on the Knights in every one of their games this season, you'd be up $2,035. So imagine if you were betting $500 a game, guys, on every Vegas game. You'd be up $10,000 right now. All right, you bet $1,000 a game, you'd be up $20,000. You bet $100 a game, you're up $2,000. If you only bet on the Golden Knights at home this year, you'd be up $1,495 on $100 bets. Motherfucking profitable. And it's amazing. Like when they lose, they win again the next night. It's like they just always stop the bleeding right away, this team. All the way down to 7-1 right now for the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. They're good. We had this conversation before, Gabe, about just urgency, chip on your shoulder, all those cliches that you could make. They're all there with this Vegas team. They're fun to watch. They're fast. They have a good base, and they didn't take the best possible team. They left some good players on the board, and it's amazing to see this team right from the get-go give Gerard Gallant some credit. And the chemistry right away, the power play, he's stuck with his line since day one, their top line. And I go look at their top six, but just their top line and James Neal and David Perron have been together all year. Eric Holla was good last year with the Minnesota Wild in a third line role. He gets to step up in a big time role. They're scoring goals. They picked up some guys where they thought that they were going to trade them and get some picks in return and build for the future, because let's be honest, they went down to their 5th, 6th goaltender this year and had to go to a kid that was like 17 years old. So they need some depth. And they made a decision last week to sign Jonathan Marchessault. And those were two players in Jonathan Marchessault and James Neal who were at the end of contracts, were probably going to be flipped at the deadline. And now they've made this decision that they're not just going to just be sellers, and they're going to ride this thing out. You had Vegas strong to start the season. A lot of the players have spoken about how close it made them at right away. There's an article in Players Tribune with David Perron talking about that chemistry and the closeness right away as a team, and going on the road and just winning that first game and coming back, and the crowd and the atmosphere and their attendance is up. It's through the roof. That article mentions just the action they get every single night. I have a buddy that hardly follows hockey, and he told me he bets on Vegas every single night. He doesn't even know any better.
I told people in Vegas, I remember telling Ted Savansky, I said, it'll be interesting to see, how, hockey and hockey betting. And I lived in Vegas and I saw, I remember like years ago, hockey was on the little TV screen. It wasn't non-existent, but it'd be on a couple of the small screens in the corner type of deal at a Vegas Sportsbook. And when I lived there, they'd have LA King games with the sound on, during a weeknight and stuff. They'd rather basketball, but it started to grow. But you see, as you stated, even the Las Vegas Sportsbooks, Chris, they're saying they're blown away by the amount of hockey action that they get. Here it is. You said when the Knights play, they get 10 to 15 times as much any action on the game. And that 90% of NHL wagers now in Vegas are on the Vegas team. So, it's amazing. The locals are just crushing it, too, because they're betting on the fucking team every night.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
he was talking about how now it's to the point they're just happy if they don't win on the puck line, you see?
Yeah.
He's as long as they don't win by 2, we're all right. But
yeah.
He goes, win by -1 because he said all the locals are now getting greedy. And they're playing the puck lines at plus money. So it's funny how they're now the sports books are like, well, at least they didn't win by 2.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And you wonder about, and I've had this conversation with you before, about this team's second and third time maybe inside that building. The first trip there is fun for some of these young players. The Tampa Bay Lightning, some pitchers leaked to them, having some fun. Why not? I mean, look at the Lightning. They're the best team in the NHL. Why wouldn't they have some fun there? Cooper's a coach, and he's used to coaching young players. He did it before he got to the Lightning, and a lot of those young players that are on that team now, he's been with them for a few years. So he let them have some fun, and they were in a game that they lost late, but they were right there. And you wonder if, okay, that's out of your system a little bit. The Leafs played there on New Year's. I mean, how lucky was that for the NHL to put the kids there in Vegas? I mean, it's all a learning experience for these guys. Now,
Chris,
what?
We've got a lot of hockey fans. We don't talk a ton of hockey on the show, but there's a lot of hockey fans here, I see. And if you look at the chat, Chris, do you have the chat? Do you see the link? No, eh?
I don't see a chat. Maybe I got to click on something.
Yeah, you're not watching the show. Here, I'll send you the so if you got a hockey question for Chris, you can throw it out of here. Check your DM on Twitter here, right?
Okay, yeah.
So a lot of people are saying, oh, they're not even going to get out of the first round, Las Vegas. And
well,
what I just saw someone say is they don't have any playoff experience. They got a ton of playoff experience. How many fucking Stanley Cup rings do they have on that team, Chris? You telling me Marc-Andre Fleury doesn't have any playoff experience? That James Neal doesn't have any playoff experience? They've got guys that have won cups, that have been in cups. They've got vets that have been around the league. Yeah, they got a couple of young guys, but this isn't a green, like really, really young team. There's a lot of vets that have been there, done that on this team.
Yeah, there are. Well, Marc-Andre Fleury is the biggest one. I mean, you just mentioned him. Look at his numbers. I know he's leading the league in goals against average and save percentage. I know he's only played 12 games, but I mean, say what you want to say about Fleury. He had one big game, and the Penguins went away from him last year. He was the reason they beat the Capitals. If anybody watched that 7-game series, Washington outplayed Pittsburgh in 6 of them, and the Penguins showed up in Game 7 when their backs against the wall, and they've got it done. But there's other teams that I like in the West more than Vegas. I mentioned the Jets earlier. I talked about the Jets. I think Nashville is going to go right back to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think Vegas could win a round. I don't think that they're going to make a big push, but this is a playoff team already. They're locked in. They could collapse and still make the playoffs.
Somebody that says they're not making the playoffs.
Right. They're making the playoffs. And there's teams I'm looking at. I like them more. They can beat St. Louis in a series. Let's see if St. Louis can make a trade and get a goal scorer already. Jake Allen is losing his job to Carter Hutton. Hutton is a good experience.
You don't think that once in the playoffs, that Vegas aren't going to get the calls too? They're going to get the calls. You think if Vegas is playing the Calgary Flames in the playoffs, and who's going to get the calls?
Well, Calgary hasn't gotten the calls in 20 years. I was living in Red Deer when that puck was across the line. The Calgary Flames won the Stanley Cup in Calgary that night. And Martin St. Louis later on scored in overtime, and they went back to Tampa Bay, and Vinny LeCavier and company won 2-1. That was all over the papers in Red Deer. Robbed. I mean, it was right over the line. The puck crossed the line.
The Oilers got robbed that time.
Oilers got robbed. I mean, Calgary and Edmonton have been getting robbed for honestly. Calgary last year, too, a couple bad calls against the Ducks. And anyways, it is what it is. I'm not a big believer in getting the calls. I mean, I understand where you're going there, but just again, looking at the other teams in the West, I think that they can beat St. Louis. I think they can beat San Jose and Los Angeles. Certainly they can score better than probably those teams, and Fleury is good enough to win you a series. So absolutely, look right now, if they played Dallas or Colorado, they would certainly beat those two teams. I think the Ducks would give them a challenge, and I think the Blackhawks will give them a challenge. If the Blackhawks are a wild card team, they're going to give anybody a challenge. Interesting tonight, Gabe.
That's going to be fucking sick in the playoffs. And I haven't been to a Vegas game yet. And man, I got to be there for a playoff game.
You got to go.
It'd be fucking nuts, dude. Imagine the Chicago Blackhawks and the Vegas in the fucking playoffs in their first year. With Blackhawk, how many Chicago Blackhawk fans are in Vegas and Midwesterners? It'd be nuts. Fuck
and
that.
Look how well they're traveling. Vegas. I watched a game. It was out east, and I thought they played Carolina, and I was surprised with the amount of Vegas fans that were there. Traveling well, Gabe. You said people are embracing this team right now, and it's fun to watch. And a couple of these other players, they signed Marchessault, which means to me that they're in for the future. I mean, he's a good young player, scored 30 last year. Do they sign James Neal now? Like, is he want to embrace being the captain of this team for the next few years? And I think he does. And then they got a young, good defenseman in Shea Theodore and Nate Schmidt. They got a really good team. And
is this the year, though? And Michigan and Purdue are tied at 58 right now. Is this the year that Tampa Bay finally gets it done? Like, if they don't get injured, they've got bad luck in the playoffs. They always get hurt. Their goalie gets hurt. Stamkos gets hurt.
Yes.
Something's always bad happen to them. If nothing bad happens to them, this seems like Tampa Bay. I'm looking at goal differential here, guys. Just to sort of gauge it and see, look, Vegas aren't a fluke. I mean, Vegas are 29-10-2. They're 18-2-1 at home. They're solid on the road at 11-8-1. But it's not like, they won a bunch of games by one goal and shootouts and shit. They've got a goal differential of 30 goals. They're plus 30 goals. And that's the second highest in the league. And, with the exception of Winnipeg Jets are also plus 30 goals. And then you look at Tampa Bay, Chris. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
The Tampa Bay Lightning have scored 160 goals and only given up 107, a goal differential of plus 53. 17-3-1 at home, 14-6-2. They're just a dominant hockey team.
Absolutely. And they have a dominant goaltender in Andrei Vasilevsky. Look at the numbers. He's got 26 wins, a 2.4 goals against average, 2.04, that is, 935 save percentage. He's got 6 shutouts. I've always said that over the past couple of years, and I've said it a lot, Gabe, on Fantasy Sports Network, is Nikita Kucherov. I watched him live in a playoff series against the Habs 3 years ago in the second round, and I was blown away with him. I thought he was one of the best, smoothest skaters I've ever seen, and I've seen about 30 live hockey games, and he stood out to me. I saw Pavel Bure play a couple times. I was blown away by him, and Crosby. I mean, Kucherov is such a sniper. And Steven Stamkos is unbelievable as well. We all know that. But Kucherov, he gets in those areas. He has the best release in the NHL, and he's such a good skater. These two just get it. They have young guys in Braden Point, who's good. The Sergachev deal is going to work out for them defensively. Victor Hedman is the key for them. Nobody has like a Victor Hedman. Carlson has kind of looked like he's taken a step back. Drew Doughty's had a nice season. Brent Burns has taken a little bit of a step back. Victor Hedman is just entering his prime right now. He's a big skater. You mentioned when they've lost before, when they played the Blackhawks and they lost in the finals, they talked to Patrick Kane, and Patrick Kane said that's the best player he's ever played against. He said the reach that he had and the hockey sense, the offense ability, and just the poise back in the blue line defensively. So they have the easiest path, I'll say that, in the East. The Penguins, it's so tough to do. 3 years in a row, this team looks like they've just...
The playoffs started today. They wouldn't have
worn
made the
out.
playoffs. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're right on the end. They look worn out. Crosby's played a lot of hockey over the years, and they just called up a couple more kids to play with them. They need to trade Chris Letang. What's that?
I look it up. The Caps, the Caps
are the Caps. They don't have enough depth. The Caps don't have enough depth. They've lost some guys offensively. New Jersey's fun story as well. They were 101 to win the odd.
They're going to be scrappy, but it'd be hard for them to win like 3 series in a row and get to the cup playing like this. But they're a scrappy team. Listen, I think you got Corey Schneider, you got a chance, especially in a playoff game.
Yeah.
But the Bruins are suddenly a trendy team, I noticed, over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they really are. And for the first time all year, just the other day, Gabe, that top line of Bergeron, Pasternak, and Marchand allowed a goal 5-on-5. Think about that for a second. They hadn't allowed a goal 5-on-5 all year long. Unbelievable. And what they do offensively, the production. Brad Marchand's turned into another Halifax boy from out east that I'm familiar with. But he's turned out to be a terrific two-way hockey player, and he's still what he is, a rat sometimes on the ice. Bergeron's phenomenal. I'm not completely buying into the Bruins. I still think they have some holes. Charlie McAvoy is a really good story. They need to. The key to them is to keep Backus and Krejci healthy. Those guys weren't healthy to start the year. They had no second line, and now they're healthy and they're playing. And when those guys play, they're healthy. They're proven players. So, I mean, and they have good goalie and obviously Rask, but a backup in Khudobin, and that's the key. Rask has always been hurt. You know, the past couple of years, he hasn't been able to play that full year. Maybe they rode him too much. And, you know, there's a couple of seasons where he played so many games. Antal Khudobin is a nice backup for them, gives them a good relief. But I think the easiest path is Tampa. Tampa would beat Boston in a 7-game series. They just can't keep up. Nobody can keep up to this team offensively. The speed is tremendous. And then Vasilevsky he's really good.
Yeah, if I had to pick, I would say that and you know what? I see Vegas Golden Knights, man. It's pretty crazy. They're actually now favored to win the Western Conference.
I know.
Plus 450. You know, Nashville plus 600, some value right there, I think. If I had to pick a Stanley Cup right now, I'd say it's Tampa Bay versus Nashville.
I got 3 futures. I usually sprinkle every year. Nashville, it sucked. They were my team last year at 24-1 Gabe to win the cup. I went back to them again to start the season at 14-1. I got the Ducks 2 weeks ago. Mentioned it on your show, Unfiltered. I got them at 16-1. They're now 14-1. I like the Ducks a lot. I think that Adam Henrique deal. I think both those teams, Nashville and Anaheim, this is the difference between these teams in the East and the teams in the West. I mean, their centers, look down the middle, the depth. Nashville, Ryan Johansson and Bonino, they lost Fisher. They go and get Kyle Turris. It's just add another center. And then Anaheim answered that bell when, you know, Getzlaf, they have Getzlaf and Kessler. Those guys missed basically the entire year already. Now they're back. And then they acquired Adam Henrique. Adam Henrique is going to be their third center. I mean, and both of those teams have great defense and a good goalie. So, I like both of them in the West, so I got futures on them. But Tampa Bay, I think, again, has the easiest path. They're the safest, but now you got no odds on them.
You know what amazes me? So you're a Canadiens fan, and I grew up in Montreal. My grandfather briefly played for the Canadiens in the 40s. You know, I fucking hosted the post-game show. I know this team inside out right now, and I've been pretty critical of them over the years, and I've always wondered when other people would come around and start to sort of see what I see with this. And they still really don't, for the most part. I mean, there's a couple of disgruntled fans. But, you know, I'd like to send to Mr. Molson. What's his name? Eric Molson? I'd like to send the Molsons and Dominic Sayon, their PR guy, and Bergevin, and send them the Vegas odds and the offshore odds. And show their fans this. I don't want to hear about Maurice Richard. I don't want to hear about Guy Lafleur, Patrick Roy, how many fucking Stanley Cups you won fucking 30 years ago. You know, I want to show you that, you know, you are in the Stanley Cup predictions, according to the money, you are the third least chance of winning a cup behind only the Buffalo Sabres and the Ottawa Senators. Is that something to be fucking proud of? And they charge the highest ticket price in the NHL. And, you know, we disputed this, Chris. Remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Get the link. They charge the highest ticket price on average in the National Hockey League. They were just appraised at $1.4 fucking billion fucking dollars. I'm from Montreal. Montreal's not a rich city, man. The fucking bridge is about to collapse, fuck. Like, I don't know the audacity of these guys to charge the highest ticket price in the league in a city that might have the most fucked up economy in the fucking league for a team that hasn't won in 25 fucking years and has zero hope in hell of fucking winning this year. And they still, like, no one seems to really realize this is a tragic situation, or not tragic, a dire situation, Chris. Like, they're fucking fucked, man. Like, this fucking team is fucked.
Yeah, they're in a bad spot, that's for sure. And with everything that's gone on there over the past couple of years, and certainly some players and what they've talked about and the closeness of the room or not the room, and PK, that dealing, and there's some rumors and some reports that I read about actually the players voting on PK to actually be that captain, and management went with Pacioretty, and so that's the side right there. I mean, everyone wants to go, where did it go wrong? I mean, before this season, even still, they had been to 3 Eastern Conference Finals in the past couple of years. Carey Price got hurt in round 1. They lost him. They lost that series to the Rangers. Even Tokarski, they took it 6. I was there for game 5 at the Bell Center, and they are screwed because they're never going to acquire any free agents. That's for sure. I mean, Bergevin's only hope is to get Tavares, and why would Tavares want to come here? I mean, why would Max Pacioretty even want to stay? I mean,
that's the thing. Like,
they're just holding on. Yeah, because you know why they're holding hope.
And the fans always say in Montreal, well, we don't accept that here. You can't do that here. Well, look, you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs got good because, A,
they traded Kessel.
They got the pick, they got Austin Matthews. B, they went all in with a commitment of, we don't give a shit what it costs. Like, if you told the Leafs brass, listen, fuck, we need fucking better silver fucking spoons for the players because it's hurting their wrists when they have breakfast, they would do it.
So
they like that before, but you can't question that now. You got Shanahan, you got Lamoriello, you got Hunter, you got Babcock. They're spending $12 million a year in coaches and shit and executives. Like, they are basically stating, whatever it takes, we will do to win.
Yeah.
You need a free agent, we'll get it. You need, rookie, you need a trade, let's make the trade. They'll do whatever it takes. The Canadians aren't doing whatever it takes. And they also have more obstacles against them than the Leafs do. But the Canadians aren't anywhere near as to being all in. And then secondly, the Habs fans are going to have to realize that no one fucking wants to sign there. You're going to have to fucking draft players and hope that you get a fucking superstar. That's all you can fucking do, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. And the Tavares thing is just a dream. The question is, I mean, you brought up the Leafs, and you think the Habs would hire Babcock? No chance in hell. Why? He didn't speak French. I mean, a lot of the fan base wanted to give Kirk Muller a chance, an opportunity.
Yeah, that's a very good point, too.
They got rid of him. They wouldn't even try for Babcock. You know what? The Habs...
So you look at soccer teams, like Portugal soccer, they take it pretty seriously. They hire a Brazilian guy as the coach. They don't give a shit. You look at China's basketball team. They'll hire Rick Pitino. They don't, we're going to get a Chinese guy. No, we're going to get the best fucking coach we possibly can because we don't give a shit where he's from. Like, only the Montreal Canadiens narrow their fucking choice to this.
Right. This is what I mean. And this is a team that I've followed now for almost 30 years, and they're the only team I've ever seen go from Therrien to Julian to Therrien to Julian, and then it be fine with Therrien being like a scout for the system. I mean, what's next? Alan Vigneault is going to come back and be another coach in 5 years when this thing doesn't work. It's unbelievable. They need to bring somebody in. I agree. Bring somebody in like that, like what the Leafs have done. And who is that guy? I mean, are they going to bring Bob Caney back to just try to make everything better and rebuild properly? But he's the guy that flipped away Ryan McDonough for Scott Gomez. Yeah, that got everybody in and they made a run, but that turned out to be an awful deal. And that was Gomez was a complete flop. So you need to bring somebody in that has no ties. Jeff Molson, I think, needs to take a step back because I don't think he's a hockey guy. And he gave this shot to Bergevin. He allowed Therrien. Therrien should never have been hired again, ever. And Julian should never have been hired again either. And I'm not putting this on Julian. They're the same. They're the same coaches. I've watched this for almost 20 years now. It's the same. It's the same players. They have no offense. At the end of the day, they can't score goals. And Bergevin put them in such a bad spot this year defensively.
I said it at the time, if you remember, and people were like, "Oh, you're crazy." When I said it won't make a fucking difference with Julia there, fucking Therrien there.
No, it's not. It's not the coach.
Too. People are like, well, you can't say that Julia is not a better coach. Yeah, that's not the point.
Yeah, he's a better coach.
It doesn't matter if he's a better coach or not. We're to the point where it just doesn't matter. Like you said, they're almost like the Washington Redskins. It just doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? Whatever they do, it'll be wrong. And like, I don't know, man. Like, honestly, it's painful because they have to do so much, but
you know what they need to do, Gabe? They need to trade Pacioretty.
Yes.
You need to trade Pacioretty. And I like Pacioretty.
He's the guy to get rid of. You're right. Because you're not getting rid of Carey Price. You get rid of Pacioretty.
Yeah, and I like Pacioretty. You know the stats. I mean, there's only 6 guys.
It has to be done.
Yes, exactly. To make that step, Kessel. I mean, Leaf fans like Kessel. I'm sure they like Kessel. Kessel is one of the best snipers. I mean, he's leading Pittsburgh right now, and he's getting it done.
Tyler Seguin forever. You're right. Fuck.
Yeah, but
it sometimes.
Yeah, Boston made a bad deal with Seguin, but that's a good example. But the other deals, Kessel worked for Pacioretty. Look at what Ottawa gave up. Look at what Colorado did for Duchesne.
For the record, 1 second. So the college basketball starting in a couple of minutes. As I stated earlier, I like the over Fresno. I like Fresno and Boise to go over the number. I got to lean with Fresno, but it's up to 3.5, 4 right now. I liked it better when it was a little lighter. So let's hold on for the in game there. So let's go over the 142, and we're going to go over 135 here in San Jose State and San Diego State. All right, over San Diego State 130. Fucking it came down to 135. Perfect. Yeah, well, over 135. So yeah, we're going with both overs, and I like Fresno, but I don't want to lay. I don't want to lay minus. I don't want to lay the 3.5, and I don't want to lay 180 on the money line. So let's just see how it plays out. But I'm going to take both overs here. Boise State, Fresno over 142 and over 135, 135.5 for the San Jose State game. So yeah, when do the Habs play again? Anyways.
They play the Bruins on Saturday. You know what? Their season is already over, and Bergevin says that there's, he says he still thinks that they have a shot. He's just talking, but they play the Bruins 3 of their next 5 or 6 games, so that'll officially be the season if they lose those games. I mean, they haven't played Boston yet this year.
Radulov, though, I don't understand this shit, and now they have money. I like all this shit.
Well, Radulov didn't stay, man. I mean, that's on Radulov. They offered him the money. They offered him the exact same contract. He was open about it. He spoke out when the Habs played the Stars earlier this year. There was an interview, and he spoke out about it. They offered him the exact same deal, but they offered him late. First, it was he wanted him first at 3 years, and at 4, he wanted 5, and then at the end of the day, he got another deal. Radulov, he got that offer. He told Bergevin. Bergevin matched it. He said he'll match it, and look at it. There's no tax in Dallas. He's saving himself $4 million. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest about the money. Let's be honest. This is a guy who went to the KHL and bailed out and got some money in KHL. Now he's back in the NHL. He came. Montreal took a shot on him. He was good, and he is a good player. And look at he's playing with superstars in Dallas. Who wouldn't want to play with Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn and live in Dallas? Talk about this and the state of the tax savings that you're going to get by playing there. So, and he also said, Hitchcock won him over, and there was nobody that, reached out to Radulov to hang out with him for a night. He said that he felt wanted. Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn hung out with him back-to-back nights, and he was very vocal about that. He said, these guys, I felt wanted. They wanted to hang out with me. Did anyone from Montreal, I'm not saying that's a difference, but did anyone from Montreal, I don't know, did he get along with any of these guys? Again, do you go back to Pacioretty? I don't know. I've seen other leaders reach out through free agency and try to have somebody. I give Pacioretty a hard time. I give him a hard time. Again, the stats are there, and this is why I say to trade him. I like him. I think that he's unfair because he's never played with anyone. Who's the center? Philip Deneau? Who was it before? David Desharnais?
He's not a leader. That's the thing.
Sure, he's not a leader, but he's never played with anybody. It's easy to shut him down in a playoff series when the top defenseman's on him when there's no center. But Pacioretty has the 5th most goals in the NHL in the last 5 years. And look at what Colorado got for Matt Duchesne. You deal Pacioretty and you get a very similar. You get a prospect, a first, a player. You got a lot for Matt Duchesne, and he doesn't have the track record that Pacioretty has. Not goals. You can get a lot for him. You got to bite the bullet. You got to make the move and improve your team.
And Michigan and Purdue right now coming down to the wire here, 69-69. I didn't game over that we grabbed. Not looking good unless it goes to overtime, which would be real good. We're on Michigan +2, but it's 69-69, and I don't know. It might be Purdue's ball here. It might be Michigan's ball. It's under review with 5.8 seconds remaining. So as we were praising the fucking Preds, I think they just lost, didn't they? Did they lose?
No, they won.
Did the Predators win?
The Predators, Nashville won.
Oh, sorry. The Flames. My bad. The Flames and the Wild.
That game was in overtime last I saw.
Oh, the Wild scored again. Hey, good.
So they won.
Boom, 2-0 in the NHL. Let's see. Nah, the Flames won 3-2.
Flames won in overtime.
Yeah. Fuck me. Fucking Flames are a good road team. Fuck, man. These guys never seem to lose on the road, man. 13-5 now. All right, Chris. So your Philadelphia Eagles, first team up this week. You know, you look at Georgia blowing that big lead last night. You know, the Atlanta Falcons blew the lead in the Super Bowl last year. Everyone thought, oh, look, the Rams are coming back last week on the Falcons. It's pretty much one of these deals, though, where it's like if the Falcons are even up by 17 points in the fourth quarter, none of us are going to feel comfortable about this. I think this game's a toss-up. I really do. I'm leaning with the Atlanta Falcons, but I'm not saying, oh, this is a stone-cold lock. I think the Eagles are getting a little disrespected, to be honest with you, with the Falcons being 3-point favorites here. Even without Carson Wentz, if I was an odds maker, like I look at this game and I look at this game as a 100,000% motherfucking pick 'em. I think this is a toss-up game in which either team can win. And, you know, making it a pick 'em is sort of taking away the 3 points from Philadelphia for home field or 4 points or whatever for home field and saying, all right, now it's just even. But the odds makers are saying, no, we're taking away the 3 points for home field, and we're saying that these guys are better. They're saying that the Falcons are like a touchdown better than the Eagles are right now because Carson Wentz isn't there. I'm not so sure that's true.
Yeah, and there, you know, the biggest thing of all, Gabe, with all of this is, you know, they're disrespecting the Eagles' defense. Most of all, you can throw out the offensive stats if you want. The best red zone offense in the league, best third down offense. You can throw all that stuff out the window if you want because Nick Foles is the quarterback. I get it. But look at the defense. Number one rushing defense in the entire league. The number one record at home in the last 2 years. This is the fourth time they've been home underdogs in the playoffs. Their winning margin is 17. They're 3-0 in those games. They've been disrespected plenty of times before. This defense is good. Last season, look at Matt Ryan. Last season, Matt Ryan and this offense had a career year, right? It was record-setting, the offense. Matt Ryan lost in Philadelphia last year. They only put up 15 points in that game. His completion percentage was 54. He had a touchdown and a pick. His quarterback rating was 49.5, two of his worst marks of the season. Atlanta scored 15 points. Gabe, over 19 games last season, Atlanta's offense averaged 34 points per game.
Jim Schwartz has a recipe for him.
He's got a good defense anyways. He dials up pressure. They're a hard team to run against. Julio Jones is the difference. But how is the weather going to be there? It looks like it's going to rain on Friday. The Eagles, the only way that they're going to win this game is their defense. It really is. It's going to be their defense. They're going to have to create turnovers, and they're going to have to be able to run the football and run it well. They're the only team in the league with 3 backs who have over 300 rushing yards. Clement is mixed in, Ajayi, Blunt. They run the football. They don't take a lot of shots with Foles. But one thing that I've noticed in Philadelphia, and they've talked about this a lot, and I don't know if it was an excuse for Nick Foles and not being really good over the past couple weeks. Let's be honest. Foles is a backup. He's not supposed to look spectacular. He played good against the Giants. But there's been a lot of wind in Philly and that weather. This defense has only allowed 52 points in their last 5 home games. 52 points. Both teams' quarterbacks are having some problems throwing the ball. This is going to be a run game, I think. Ground and pound. And Matt Ryan, that's what they relied on last week. They ran the ball a lot last week.
Yeah.
So this game, you're right. This is close. This is going to be a close game.
The Eagles are a lot tougher to run the ball on than the Rams are. I mean, we talked about it. The Eagles, and it's not really a major weakness because they had a lot of leads at the time, and yards could kind of be deceptive. Yards per play, what you give up. But I mean, the strength of the Eagles defense, and the Eagles defense is good, but it starts up front. They've got a good front line. They've got a good front four. They've got good. They do a good job. Schwartz does a good job of getting to the quarterback. They create havoc. They're good against the run, and they get to the quarterback. They're one little Achilles heel, you could say, well, the secondary, only because, and they got decent players. Ronald Darby's a good player, but he's a little undersized. That's my deal here coming in here. And Darby and Mills are often playing man-to-man coverage, and they're alone because of the system that Schwartz does. So he'll trust his cornerbacks. And you look at Sanu and you look at Jones, these are big fucking dudes. They are going to have the physical advantage in the secondary. So when these guys are running and Sanu and Jones and Hooper are running around out there, I think they're going to be open. But the question is, can Atlanta's offensive line give Matt Ryan enough time to get the ball to them? because I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball with as much success as they did against the Rams.
Yeah, and the Eagles struggle against running backs who can catch too. They give up a lot of receptions to running backs. And you're right. And Julio lit them up last year in that one game. And he's probably gonna light them up again. He really is. And that's why I give the advantage to Atlanta. And that's why I told you is when this spread opened at 2.5, I jumped on it right away. I jumped on that spread without hesitation. I said Atlanta is going to win this game because even if it comes down to that game that Philadelphia wants, where last possession, who are you going to trust to put up points? Who are you going to trust to move the ball? And who's got the weapons? And that's what we saw with Atlanta. They didn't mess around. We've been waiting for this all year, Gabe, with the Falcons. And we blame it on Sarkisian. This offense is going to take a step back. Of course, with Kyle Shanahan, it's not going to be this good, and it's not. Matt Ryan had like 7 games last year with over 2 passing touchdowns. He had one. He has none this year with over 2. He hasn't had one game with 3 passing touchdowns. Amazing. And what did they do? They ignored Julio Jones. They ignored him in the red zone. He only had 3 touchdowns, the same number as Odell Beckham Jr. They used him. They ran the ball. They used both backs. And Julio touched the ball 10 times. Julio is going to be a problem for the Eagles. Sanu is going to be a problem in the slot for the Eagles. They're going to have to rely on this defense and just try to shut him out. But it's Matt Ryan, and it's that final drive that worries me, and that's why I give him the edge. That's why I give them. But the Eagles are certainly getting disrespected, and they're going to be in this game. I agree with you that I think it should be a pick'em game. It should be. And if Foles is certainly capable of putting up 17 points, that's probably what it'll take. You can get into that 17, 20-point range. I see the total right around 40 in my opinion. I think it's a good number.
A little low. I think the total's a little low.
You think high?
This Michigan-Purdue game, unbelievable. They fucked Michigan over with a bad call on a possession late, and then a bogus call. That's not a foul, guys. Let them play basketball. That's not a foul. That's not affecting any shot. That's fucking garbage to fucking screw over Michigan on their home court like this. That's a fucking bogus fucking foul, man. You want to go with the possession, fine. Miss the free throw, you punk. Fuck. This is fucking garbage. I've got Michigan +2 here, but this is fucking bullshit.
What's going on?
It was 69-69. Michigan were taking it to the rack. All right, he misses. We got a +1.5, +2. Shoot. Oh. All right, fuck you. We cover. Fuck. Oh, fuck, we got screwed there, though. 70-69. Michigan cover the number, though. All right, Lakers, what's going on here? Lakers and Kings. 31-27. We got a high-scoring game, and the Kings are getting back in it right now. So, what's your final? It's early in the week right now, but this is a tough fucking game. I love the card last week, Chris. This is a tough week this week, I find, in the NFL. But push comes to shove, I got to take the Falcons as well. Falcons, Eagles don't suck, but ultimately, let's say Falcons win. You were saying it's around the number, and I get why they came up with this because I was about to say 24-17 or so.
Yeah, that's what stands out to me.
24-17 range,
That's what stands out to me too, like a touchdown game, a 21-17 even. I mean, again, the Eagles will be in this game. Ryan, 1-3 in Philly. Again, I talked about that last year, and that game last year where that offense struggled in Philadelphia, it wasn't like Carson Wentz stole them the game. I mean, he didn't throw for a touchdown. He only had 231 yards. He didn't throw for a touchdown, and the Eagles just ran the ball, and it was Sproles and Matthews at that time. So I think it's going to be a heavy dose of those 3 running backs, sprinkling all those guys in, and hopefully, and obviously, if they can have some success, it'll help, limit the mistakes of Nick Foles. But yeah, I'm with the Falcons. They're my pick. It pains me to say that, of course, but I think that it's too bad, really, Gabe, that we couldn't see Carson Wentz and what he could do in this spot. And I'm sure he'll have another opportunity, but it would have been nice to see.
I would like to see a Carson Wentz and Minnesota, a fair shake, right? Game type of deal. But the NFL isn't fair. And you look at Minnesota. No. Minnesota, man, they're on their 3rd quarterback now, right? I mean,
and their second running back. They were their starting quarterback and running back.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook.
I know. Somehow it's just fucking Brady never seems to get hurt.
Yeah, it's everybody else.
What? So, yeah, we'll just blast through these. I appreciate it. We won't keep you all night. But Tennessee's getting 13 right now against the Patriots. I don't know if you saw it. I talked about this earlier. Tom Brady tweeted out a picture about
Yeah, I saw that.
Whisper to the Warrior, and he's like, I am the Warrior. I am the fucking storm, blah, blah. So Brady's basically threatening everybody that he's pissed off and there's a storm coming this weekend. I'd like nothing better to see the fucking Titans beat these jerk-offs. Do you think they have any hope in hell of beating them?
No, not beating them, but I think that they have a hope to cover that spread. In fact, I like them to have this game to be close. In fact, and you know what? It's just that Brady thing. It's so annoying. I do on target with Joe Pisapia, and he's a Pats fan, and he was thinking to himself. He said this to me the other day when this came up, that whole article. And he said, I was sitting back to myself and I was thinking, man, the Patriots don't have any motivation. I mean, they had the Spygate and Deflategate and this and that, and they don't have any motivation this year. I mean, they just beat the Steelers, had that play call, that worked out for them, and everything is just kind of worked out, is what he was saying to me. And then, boom, this article came up, and he's just like, and now Brady's probably pissed off, and pissed off Brady is the best Brady. And he's just going to go off and prove to himself that he is better than Belichick and what they wanted to do with Garoppolo and all this. So I get that picture, but at the same time, Brady has not looked good over the past few weeks. And I wonder if that Achilles injury really has bothered him. I mean, there was a streak of 5 games where he threw an interception in all of them. That was the first time in 15 years. He struggled against the Bills a couple times. He was missing wide open players. He certainly 100% missed Rob Gronkowski in that game that he was suspended. He didn't hook up with any wide receivers. I joked that the only wide receiver he hooked up with was Randy Moss on the sidelines in the pregame. I mean, he's throwing passes to him. He missed Brandon Cooks all night. He got in that argument with McDaniels. He hasn't looked great. It's just the Titans' defense isn't good enough. They can stop the run. They've proved that. They can stop the run. KC
could run the ball and eat some clock up, but
that's the thing. They got to be able to run the ball.
I got to tell you, they could cover this 13.
Yes, they can.
Know this, because why isn't it 17 or something? Because the odds makers are like, fuck you, It's under 14 for a reason, guys.
The garbage time touchdown. That late score.
It needs the clock aspect of this, in which you give the ball to Derrick Henry, you can chew up 6-7 minutes. You could really shorten the football game. Remember, how would you compare this game to last year when New England hosted Houston?
It's the difference.
Remember, they had Brock Osweiler going in there. The difference was Houston had a better defense.
Yes.
Without J.J. Watt, they had Clowney getting to the quarterback, and they had a better defense. But you could argue Tennessee have a better offense this year than they did. You got Derrick Henry. Mariota struggles, but he still makes plays. It's not pretty, but he still makes plays. They're playing with 100% house money. I think they have a puncher's chance of covering the point spread here. I really do.
I do, and I actually like them. And the thing is, you're right. They're just playing with house money. I mean, they lost those couple games towards the end of the season, games on the road that they probably should have won against San Fran and Arizona, and they failed to do that. And then they won that game against Jacksonville, and it wasn't pretty, but Jacksonville played some of their starters. Certainly Blake Bortles played in that game, and they felt like, hey, they won this game. Then they come back against KC and get some more confidence. And the key is Derrick Henry and that clock. You mentioned it. The Patriots allowed 4.7 yards per carry on the ground. It was the second highest mark in football. You can run on New England. They've struggled against running backs for basically all year, and it started with Kareem Hunt week 1
as well.
Mobile quarterbacks.
And Newton both had good games against them earlier this year, if you remember.
And go look at Marcus Mariota's game log over the past couple weeks. I mean, he's looked really good on the ground. The carries are there, and we saw the ability he had striking the end zone. That was a fluky touchdown, but he it all started with his legs. So I'm not sold on Marcus Mariota. I think he took a big step back, but he doesn't have to do a whole lot. If he can get a ground game going right now and a running game, and just with the clock, they have some weapons. Decker is extremely experienced. He had a touchdown last week. Delaney Walker is the most experienced tight end. Really kind of left, the most consistent, I'll say that, because apart from Gronk, I mean, he's in and out of the lineup. For Walker, it's you know what you're going to get with him: 6 to 7 targets, 4 to 5 catches. He's actually a safe little sneaky DFS play that I like a lot, Gabe. And I have a lot of Titans. In fact, I've stacked this game in general because you can do it. If you want Brady and you want Gronk, they're very expensive. Well, all of the Titans wide receivers are under like $4,000. And I like Davis and I like Decker, and Walker is affordable as well. And if you want to go the other way, Mariota as well, he can make things happen with his legs. So this is the one I'm tackling. I think there's going to be some points scored in this game. I think Tennessee's going to surprise some people.
About Mariota last week, oh, he's terrible, this, terrible, that. You ended up with 27 DraftKings points.
Yeah, I mean, his legs, right? It's his legs and what he does with his legs the last couple games and what he's done. 8 carries, 46 yards. The game before that against Jacksonville, 10 carries, 60 yards. We know we've seen it before. I mean, we've seen it in college. We've seen it earlier in the year. We've seen it last year, the big spurts that he has. So he's healthy. That's the key.
100% chance of rain, and get this, 24-kilometer-an-hour winds, man.
In New England?
Yeah, on Saturday night, 15 miles per hour, 100% chance of rain Saturday night.
So it's going to be a ground game.
I like this. Just dirty up the game. Let's give it to Henry. Let's fucking chew it up. Listen, they got a big, beefy offensive line. I was saying it all week last week.
One of the best in football.
Yeah, I said, listen, Kansas City, Kansas City, it's tough to beat them there. But I said the Tennessee Titans are actually built for the playoffs. Like they actually are. With Taylor Lewan and who's the Spain kid, the guy there. They're big, nasty dudes. They can punish you. They like dirty football in the trenches. If I'm the Tennessee Titans, I want it to be pouring rain. I want it to be sloppy.
It's the same thing in Philadelphia. You want that too. You want the rain and the bad weather as well. I mean, you want to be able to slow the clock down and run the football, and you're right. I mean, Tennessee is one of the best teams against the run all year. They've been phenomenal. They haven't allowed anything on the ground, and so they can stop the run. And Derrick Henry is for real. I mean, he's a machine, man. He's a beast that needs to be unleashed.
So stupid. It took Murray to be out.
Yeah. And his ass is going to be saved because they won a playoff game. I mean, I thought he was going to be fired and he should have been fired. It took him this long to figure it out.
It was 21-3 the other night. So the Jacksonville game, I picked Pittsburgh to go to the Super Bowl, but this number at 7.5 is too high as well. And this is a game here. If you want to look at this from an X and O standpoint, Jacksonville match up with Pittsburgh and are not intimidated physically, and so much to the tune that they beat them 30-9 earlier this year in Pittsburgh. I can tell you right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers only have a losing record at home in all time in franchise history against 2 franchises. The New England Patriots. The Steelers are 2-5 all time in Pittsburgh against the Patriots. They're 1-4. The Jacksonville Jaguar guys are 4-1 all time in Pittsburgh for some reason. They beat them earlier this year. And even me, I'm saying to myself, Chris, I'm like, well, they really match up with them. And Leonard Fournette went for 181 yards against them. And they picked off fucking Roethlisberger 5 times and all this. And then you get can Blake Bortles beat them? And then if you look at that game in week 5, Blake Bortles threw for 81 yards. They almost don't need Blake Bortles to beat them. Yeah. And they're getting 7.5 here. It's funny because I think Pittsburgh can get to the Super Bowl, but at the same point in time, I also think they really could have their hands full with a Jacksonville Jaguar team that will not be intimidated going into Pittsburgh. They already beat them there this year.
Yeah, they're going to give them a good go again. They really are. And Pittsburgh is not good. Pittsburgh doesn't cream anybody, man. Look at the odds all year. How long has this been, Gabe? You've been following the trends and the Steelers being heavy home favorites. And I say heavy in over a touchdown. How many times have they been favorites and not covered and sometimes lost in the regular season? This was one of the examples. Go back to that week. I mean, nobody saw that coming and they spanked them. They had 5 interceptions. I said to myself, I didn't understand why they didn't run the ball with Le'Veon Bell. Early in the season, you could run on Jacksonville. Obviously, you know this. They made a trade and it certainly helped out their run defense as much as he plays or not. But for Blake Bortles, you're right. He didn't have to do a whole lot. He was 8 for 14. 8 for 14 in that game. It was basically what he just did against the Buffalo Bills, and instead he didn't run the ball. I think that Pittsburgh wins this game because I like their defense as well. I don't like them as much as Jacksonville, but I don't think that they're going to score enough points. So at the end of the day, I feel like Pittsburgh struggles offensively. They still put up probably 17. Let's say they put up 17 points. What's Jacksonville doing? I can't see them.
But it's 7.5. That back door's open. I'm almost
it's open
too. Pittsburgh wins 20-14. 20-17. Jacksonville's always around, but maybe they're trailing late.
Yeah.
Dude, Leonard Fournette is – people underestimate Buffalo in that game with Jacksonville the other day. You and I talked about it. Buffalo basically put 10 guys on the line. Like they really, they were just basically, all right, let's just put 10 guys on the line. Every game is different. Blake Bortles, yes, Blake Bortles struggled against Buffalo, but he can't be any worse. Like Malinsky said today, can't be any worse, Gabe, than he was. And like we talked about, he wasn't good the first time they were there, but it didn't matter. If they can get look, Buffalo did a good job of shutting Fournette down. Like, they never really let Fournette get running downhill and stuff like that. They got beat by Bortles all the time on 3rd down and longs when they didn't expect that. It'll be a little bit different. I know Pittsburgh's defense is good, but Ryan Shazier's not there right now.
Yeah.
He's about it up. They didn't play Harrison much, but now Harrison's not there. Shazier's not there. Spiritual leaders are gone. And just from a man standpoint, Jacksonville are very fucking physical, and it's going to be really cold. In Pittsburgh. Well, let me see the temperature here. It's not going to be fun getting in front of Leonard Fournette, man, when he's coming at you. Just because Leonard Fournette got held in check a bit against Buffalo doesn't mean it'll be the same thing here. Or Blake Bortles got held in check. I'm not saying Bortles lights them up, but guys, and Chris the numbers guys, as you can tell. The fact is, Chris, before that Bills game last week, how many weeks in a row did Blake Bortles throw for at least 2 touchdown passes?
Yeah.
Like besides the last games there that didn't count, etc. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he
didn't suck for the last 2 months of the season.
No, he didn't. He was rolling. Yeah, I mean, I give Buffalo's defense a lot of credit, and I said it to you just the other day, is that I thought that, realistically, they should have won the game, and the turning point was not running it in. But both of these defenses can get after the quarterback. Pittsburgh led the league in sacks, 56. Jacksonville was second with 55. They led all year. Both of these teams can get after the quarterback. I like TJ Watt a lot. I thought that was a really good draft pick. It's a good addition to that Steelers defense. They get some pressure on Blake Bortles. I think this is going to be an offensive struggle. That's why I said when I'm tackling this slate from a DFS standpoint, I'm looking at this New England game. I mean, you scared me a little bit with this weather. I'll have to think about that. I'm certainly going to keep an eye on it. It seems like weather could be an issue in 2 of the 4 games, but I think this is going to be an offensive struggle. There's no reason for me to believe that Bortles is going to be great or fantastic in this game. And maybe Marquise Lee is a little bit healthier, but D.D. Westbrook had 10 targets in that game against the Bills, and he caught 1 ball. He couldn't do anything, and there was just nothing there. You're right. They stuffed Fournette. That's going to be the game plan for Pittsburgh too. Let's have Blake Bortles beat us with his arm. Go ahead. Try it.
Comes down to. But if Fournette gets churning, they're covering the 7.5. You're right. We can simplify the game. Yeah. If Fournette gets going, and he could, that's the thing. He could. Just like Henry got going in the second half, Chris. You see it?
Oh, yeah.
These big fucking SEC backs, they're hard to bring down and shit as the game goes on. They're running harder in the playoffs. You notice everything's in slow motion with the spin moves and shit. Like, they're just these big loads. Like, you could just see it. And expected to be snowing, actually, for this game in Pittsburgh.
Wow. So, I mean, you're going to have to keep an eye on the weather right up until, obviously early, right before kickoff. But, I wonder about their game plan with Bell. Like, I look back at that game, and what did they learn from that game? I mean, yes, they were down, but they threw the ball so many times, in 50-plus times. I think almost 60. You have to go back and check that. And Le'Veon Bell had 15 carries.
Yeah.
Bell had 15 carries in that game for 47 yards. And all the other games, this guy touches the ball 30 times. He's the difference maker. It looks like Antonio Brown is healthy. It seems like he's going to be full go. And Jalen Ramsey is a terrific corner, one of the best in the league already in just a couple of years in the NFL. But Antonio Brown had his way with him as well in that game. I mean, he caught over 10. He had 10 catches, over 100 yards in that game. He's a beast. Nobody can cover him. He's matchup proof. Yeah, it was 19 targets, 157 yards for Antonio Brown. So Bell's the difference to me. You can stop Fournette. It's really tough to stop Le'Veon Bell.
All right. And finally, in closing here, Meany, we got the Saints and the Vikings.
This is going to be good.
The Vikings are going to the Super Bowl, and the Saints are a good team. It was a nice run for them. It was a horrible decision that Peyton made going for it the other night on the 48-yard line, and they're fucking lucky that they survived that football game. It's interesting. This is another rematch. We just talked about Jacksonville guys beating them. Of course, Monday Night Football, first game of the year, Monday Night Football. The Minnesota Vikings won 29-19, yet completely different scenario. Adrian Peterson was still there. Kamara wasn't getting the ball. Sam Bradford was the quarterback of the Vikings. So it's not the same teams. Is it a rematch? Not really. But to me, this Minnesota Viking team, it's just nothing that they don't do well, Chris. And they're playing at home. I think they're cheating and pumping crowd noise through the speakers and shit in there. And they're making it louder than it really is. And it's a fucking load to play in there. And that defense, they just punch you in the mouth. Everyone keeps waiting for the Case Keenum meltdown, yet it's just not coming. You know, I don't expect it. I mean, they're just a complete football team. Mike Zimmer, to me, is the second best coach in the NFL after Bill Belichick. The numbers speak for themselves. You look at the roster that this guy has. This is his fourth year in the NFL, guys. He hasn't had 1 year losing against the spread. As a, you know, if you're betting on football, it doesn't get any more solid than Coach Mike Zimmer. And, you know, I talk about them being balanced everywhere, guys. They're top 10 in every category. I mean, on offense, they're 9th in rushing the football, 122 yards a game. They're 10th passing the ball. So it shows they have a balanced attack right there. Defensively, they give up 83 yards a game on the ground, good for third in the NFL. You want to try to throw on them, we'll have fun with that. They only give up 192 yards a game, second in the NFL. They're just a all-around, complete, well-coached football team, Chris.
Yeah, they really are. And just and some more numbers that impressed me with this Minnesota team is, you know, some that you didn't get to that I know you're aware of, but in case your listeners aren't, total defense, number one scoring defense, third down defense, number one, average quarterback rating allowed, 73 is the third best mark, average rushing yards against, the second best mark in the league, only allowing 83 on the ground, wide receivers yards per catch, 10.3, that's the second best mark, and at home, Gabe, where they're playing this game, which is the key at home, whether they're pumping loud noises or not, points per game allowed at home, 12. Best mark in the league. Touchdowns allowed at home, 8. Best mark in the league. Yards per game allowed at home, 240. Best mark in the league. This team is dominant defensively. Nobody's given Case Keenum any credit at all. He had a game in Atlanta where he was in Atlanta, and they held that team to 9 points, where he was perfect in the second half. And he was perfect in the game, 12 for 12 in the middle of the field. He's been great. And he's got two weapons in Thielen, who has emerged this season as a phenomenal wide receiver. Stephon Diggs, I'm with you. Minnesota's my team to go to the Super Bowl. I have the Steelers to beat them, but they're my team to go to the Super Bowl. I'm a little bit worried about how healthy Latavius Murray is. They're going to need a run game. They're going to need to be able to run the football. They do have a capable guy in Jerick McKinnon, but for this game this weekend, I think it's a 3-point game. I almost feel like they want you to bet on the Saints, and it scares me a little bit, having that spread at 4.
I think they're trying to rope you in, exactly.
Yeah.
The Vikings win by 10.
Yeah, okay, so you're more confident in them than me.
Yeah, I think that the wheels fall off, I think. It's the wheels fall off for the Saints. Drew Brees gets a little bit overwhelmed. They shut down the ground game, and they slow down Michael. I think it's the end of the road.
You know what the difference is, Gabe? You know what?
Playoff losses are never pretty, dude. You know what I mean? When a team gets eliminated, that last game,
yeah,
it's always like ripping the Band-Aid off, and it's like you see behind the curtain. I just sort of think it happens. They're going to slow down Michael Thomas. They'll contain the game. Breeze will be running for his life late. There'll be a pick or two, and ultimately the Vikings win by 7 to 10 points.
You know what the difference is between this game and then last week when Carolina was able to really move the ball and without a missed field goal? I mean, they potentially are. I mean, I'm sure maybe Peyton doesn't do that at the end. I agree. Bonehead, lucky to even escape that game. Maybe Carolina's going for the game-winning field goal at the end instead if they make that earlier on in the game. The difference is in this game is it's hard to run a Minnesota like Carolina, but they don't have a shutdown corner like Minnesota does in Xavier Rhodes. Xavier Rhodes can shut down Michael Thomas. He's one of the best corners in the league. He's shut down a lot of top talented wide receivers this year, including Julio Jones.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the difference. But I think that Saints can keep this close. I think it's a field goal game, but this is basically the game, in my opinion. Whoever wins this goes to the Super Bowl.
I think it comes down. Yeah, I think it's going to be Atlanta at Minnesota next week.
Yeah. And I like Minnesota to win that game.
Yeah, Atlanta at Minnesota. Chris Meany You can check Chris Meany out on the Fantasy Sports Television Network, Fantasy Sports Radio Network daily, 4 o'clock Eastern on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. All kinds of videos up on the Fantasy Sports Network YouTube page as well. And daily NBA fantasy for you guys who play NBA DFS. And you want to correlate that into betting props as well. Chris Meany always isolating some great NBA plays of the day from a fantasy and direct player perspective. Chris, good stuff. I didn't think we'd go on this long, but enjoyed it. Time just flew by, man. Good stuff talking sports with you here. Everybody enjoyed it in the chat. People are asking where they can follow you on Twitter. Where are you? Just at Chris Meany on Twitter, right?
Yeah, at Chris Meany. I know I tried to get into the chat so I can answer some questions, but when I opened it, all I could hear is each other, where it was very echoey, and it just was so distracting, so I closed it. At Chris Meany, ChrisMeaney. I retweeted the link that you tweeted out earlier for this show. So yeah, thanks for having me, man. You're right. Time kind of flew by. We were on for a while, but I always love talking sports with you, man. So thanks for having me.
Hey, good stuff, Meany. Have a good night, bro. Thanks for the time, man.
You too, buddy. We'll see you tomorrow.
There's Chris Meany with his good stuff. I knew you guys would enjoy having him on. He knows his stuff. See, Chris pretty versatile too with his different sports. Yeah, you can talk hockey, basketball, football. Chris knows golf. Yeah, he's very, very, very versatile. All right, so 47-42 in the Laker-King game right now. Yeah, guys, you know what? I know we're a little bit scared. Oh, it's 4 points. Oh, it's 4 points, but I think they win by 10. The Vikings are just that good. Look what the Vikings did to people. You know what? Look what they beat the Rams 24-7. They beat the Saints 29-19. Like, the Vikings didn't even play in that many close games. The Vikings generally beat you. I can't believe that either, Kyle. Chris Meany was on and he was talking and shit. That's fucking bullshit. I don't like using the word hate, but I fucking hate Gene Steratore, man. Him and his fuckface fucking kids, this shit-ass fucking family cartel of fucking refs. You're a fucking dickhead. You're a fucking dickhead. The audacity of you to fucking, first off, I'm doing an interview here. I can't sit here and definitively tell you that Michigan got screwed on the ball out of bounds, all right? It looked like it went off the big goofy white guy on Purdue to me. But, I can't sit here and tell you 100%. What I can tell you is after that call, though, for you with 3 seconds left, to call a fucking foul on a fucking pass in and a kid on Michigan, it's called playing basketball, Steratore. This isn't the no contact fucking figure skating association, for fuck's sakes. Like, it's ridiculous. It's not a shot. It's not a layup. It's a fucking loose fucking ball. The kids on Michigan played their hearts out, and Steratore, you fucked us. Like, I really do think you're fucking corrupt. I'm getting to the point where I think you're corrupt, Steratore. And it turns out you run a waste management company, too. You're fucking corrupt, bro. You are. You're either that or you're shit. You and Corrente. Like, I'm not even joking anymore. I can't take it. Like, they're ruining betting on sports for me, man. Whatever, man. I won the bet. I had it at plus 1.5/2. It's all good. But I'm just sick of it, man. You're a fucking dickhead. Like, there was no reason to call that foul at the end of that game. You want it, all right, the ball went out of bounds, fine. You say, listen, it's a loose ball. You don't call a foul anywhere. You're going to overtime. Let's let the kids decide it. But no. Steratore's got to let it decide. Steratore clearly wanted Purdue to win the fucking game. It's pretty clear. He wanted Purdue to win the fucking game. Otherwise, he doesn't call that fucking foul with 3 seconds left. Anybody. I don't care, guys. Even if I was fucking reffing a fucking 6-year-old game at the YMCA, a little girl's game, and there was a fucking foul with 2 seconds left, that it was away from the, it didn't affect the shot or anything, I'd say, you know what, if I fucking call a foul here, even if it kind of is, these little girls are going to start freaking out and shit. Like, it's like if you're Steratore, you think, you know what, Let's let the kids decide. We're going to overtime. It's going to be fair. It's 5 minutes. No. You got to call a foul, Steratore. Why? Why? Were you God? You try to play God now? You're a fucking asshole, bro. You and your fuckstick fucking kids can go fuck themselves. And I don't call out people's families often, but I'm doing it right now. You and your fuckstick, jerk-off, loser fucking kid fucking sons who are fucking shitty-ass fucking officials like you are can go fuck yourself. You're a fucking crook. Like, and why are you screwing these kids? It's 69-69, asshole. It's not your job. Your job is to blow the whistle and tip the ball off, fuckstick. It's not your job to play God, Steratore. Who calls that foul? It's not even on the shot. It's not even on the shot. John Beeline's the nicest man in the world. John Beeline never yells at the ref. Even Beeline after was like, what the fuck? Like, seriously. It's 69-69. You let the kids go to overtime and decide this shit, Steratore. But no, you can't do that. Because what? You and your mobster fucking buddies had money on Purdue tonight? What, you get a kickback contract for your waste company? Then what's the deal? You know, you and your corrupt fucking kids, fuck. Yeah, I'd like to see you try to sue me, too, for this shit, fuck. We'll go to fucking court and you'll have to fucking prove that you didn't fucking fuck around. He's a fucking asshole, man. All right, we'll take a quick break, bong break. Yeah, catch me outside. What's that? I said, cash me outside. Yeah, now I'm saying it. You know it's the end of the world when Morency's dropping catch me outside. Fuck. Hey, Steratore.
Yup. And all these hoes laughing like so funny.
All these hoes laughing like so funny. Yeah, you dumb hoes. Yeah, you hoes.
Hoes are laughing.
Yeah.
You
The
hoes.
audience are a bunch of hoes.
Yeah.
You're all a bunch of hoes. Yeah.
Catch me outside. How about that?
Huh?
Catch me outside. How about that?
Catch you outside? What does that mean?
What I just said.
Catch her outside and she'll go outside and do what she has to do. That's what she's talking about.
Oh yeah,
This is all, but don't you see that this is all mouth? This is mouth.
Oh,
Do you want to take this outside? Because I think they can bring cameras outside.
Really? Because I think I flipped you.
You want to do it again?
Dude, you don't get all tough. Please don't. This is not the place.
Hey,
This is not
sit
the time.
down.
Sit down.
All right, then.
Sit down.
Flip me now.
Yeah. I like to sick this little skank on Steratore. Oh, God. That's the product of the American school system right there. Catch me, yeah, you hoe. Like, I don't even understand what you're fucking saying, little twerp, fuck. Catch her outside, fuck. She's like 60 pounds, this chick. Unless she's carrying a fucking gun, man, this little bitch doesn't have much of a chance. All right. I wanted to find a clip here that was fucking funny. What's that Billie Jean King movie with Steve Carell called? I just fucking watched it. I watched it on the plane. I don't even know the name of the movie. What's it fucking called, man? Of course she's a Laker fan. What? Battle of the Sexes. Settle down, Johnny Kicknuts. Battle of the Sexes. That's it. Fuck, it's not coming up. Most movies are up on this site. I don't see it right now here, actually. Now, there's a great... I saw the movie Battle of the Sexes on the plane the other night, coming back from Vancouver. And it's a fucking funny movie, guys. There is a lot of like chicks making out and shit like that. She's actually pretty cute though. Like the Billie Jean King wasn't as cute in real life as the character in the movie. So, you know, there's a lot of girl on girl fucking softcore shit here. But the Steve Carell stuff is fucking hilarious, man. I don't know how many of you seen the movie. So, you know, Bobby Riggs was a degenerate gambler, all right? So he was a tennis player in the 60s and 70s, but he liked to gamble for real. Like he would bet on anything type of shit. So there's a fucking scene in the movie, man, where he's playing tennis for money against these old guys. And to make it fair, he's got 2 dogs on a leash and shit. It's just fucking Steve Carell nails it out of the park. So Bobby Riggs, his wife, left him because he's got a gambling problem and shit. So he goes to Gamblers Anonymous.
Anyone else like to share?
All right, so he goes to a gambler. So she's like, you have to go to Gamblers Anonymous again. You have a gambler's problem. So the next scene, Bobby Riggs, here he is at the Gamblers Anonymous.
Anyone else like to share? How about you in the back with the glasses, sir?
My name's Bobby, and I am an addict.
Hey, Bobby.
Hi, Bobby.
You know, you folks aren't here because you're gamblers. You are here because you are terrible gamblers.
Okay, Bobby.
These folks don't need to stop doing what they're doing. They just need to get better at it. Who's stealing?
Please.
Who said?
It really is. It really is fucking funny as hell, that scene. Yeah, you guys hear that? Yeah. Hello, my name's Bobby. I'm here because I gamble. He's like, yeah, we're not here because we have a gambling problem. We're here because we lose. He's like, but after he goes on, that's just the trailer. He goes on. He goes, why? He looks at the guy in the Gamblers Anonymous meeting that's leading the meeting. He looks at him. He goes, why should we stop doing the one thing that we love doing? He goes, it makes no sense. He goes, if anything, we should be learning to be better gamblers. And it's really funny at the end of the movie, he gets back with his wife and shit and fucking they show. And then at the end it says, Bobby Riggs never stopped gambling. Like he never kicked the gambling, but he didn't think it was a problem, you know? It's like, it's so funny, man. I was on a plane. It's like fucking 3 a.m. It's all dark on the plane and shit. I actually laughed out loud during this scene. I was like, man, that's fucking gold, man.
Anyone else like to share? How about you in the back with the glasses, sir?
My name's Bobby, and I am an addict.
Hey, Bobby.
Hi, Bobby.
You know, you folks aren't here because you're gamblers. You are here because you are terrible gamblers.
Okay, Bobby.
These folks don't need to stop doing what they're doing. They just need to get better at it. Who's dealing?
Please.
Who's dealing? He pulls out some cards. That's some funny shit. My favorite gambler movie. Color Money is good. My favorite gambling movie of all time is White Man Can't Jump. When it's all said and done, I'll go with, hello, my name is Bobby and I'm an addict. Yeah, like Johnny Kicknut says, though, Billie Jean King really changed women's tennis. Owning Mahoney is a good gambling movie. But to me, White Man Can't Jump is just so good because he wins the money. They win the money, and then he's willing to bet it again right after just to prove that he can dunk. That's what's so funny. Like, that movie actually like made me cry. It's so tragic. And that the line there when she's like, you know, sometimes when you win, you really lose. Sometimes when you lose, you really win. I just love this line. I'm trying to find the whole movie, guys. I want to find the clip, like of like it's actually like a 2-minute scene. It's not just this is just like the trailer of the movie.
Like to share? How about you in the back with the glasses, sir?
My name's Bobby, and I am an addict.
Hey, Bobby.
Hi, Bobby.
You know, you folks aren't here because you're gamblers. You are here because you are terrible gamblers.
Okay, Bobby.
These folks don't need to stop doing what they're doing. They just need to get better at it. Who's dealing?
Please.
Who's that?
Hello?
Eureka Belly James. Bobby Riggs. I had a great idea. Male chauvinist pig versus hairy-leg feminist. You're still a feminist, right?
I'm a tennis player who happens to be a woman.
Don't hang up.
And by the way, I shaved my legs.
Billie Jean King, already a champion of women's rights, is now the most successful female player of all time.
I am not saying that women don't belong on the court. Who would pick up the balls otherwise?
Oh my God. There's not a single thing I don't hate about Bobby Riggs.
You know what I'm doing? I'm cooking. I'm cooking. I won the triple in Wimbledon. I could beat Billie Jean King. Does she have the nerve?
Call Bobby. Tell him to me. So, Billie Jean, what do you want?
Now, don't get me wrong. I love women in the bedroom and in the kitchen.
Keep talking, Bobby. The more nonsense you spell, the worse it's going to be when you lose. I'm going to be the best. That way I can really change things.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put the show back in show business.
Bobby's a clown. This whole thing's an act for him.
Business, sports, you name it. At the very top, it's a man's world.
So we want a little bit of what you've got. That's what you kids do.
40 million people are watching. The battle you've all been waiting to see.
Now I'm done talking. Let's go.
The battle of the sexes.
What's cooler is this shit that it's real. That's what's cool about that. Man, there was in the old days they used to have cool like challenges like that, you know? Evel Knievel jumping over Caesar's Palace fountain, not successfully, I might add. Remember, like Evel Knievel now would be like, no, you can't do that. That's crazy. You're not going to jump on a motorcycle over a Vegas fucking fountain and casino. It's like, well, try to stop me. You know, like it's you just had like even remember even like Annika Sorenstam played golf against the dudes. That was cool. Like just do more stupid shit like that. You know, Michael Bailey and or Donovan Bailey and Michael Johnson. The Brandon Lang story is not true. I know Brandon Lang. Brandon Lang is a great hustler. What year was the Battle of the Sexes? I think it was 1974, Chris Blanchard. Let me see. It was real. It was a Howard Cosell and like ABC Sports and everything. Bobby Riggs came out and recently said that he bet against himself. See, now I'm getting the actual movie. I don't want the movie. I want the real. Here's fact versus fiction in the movie. Battle of the Sexes, new movie about the 1973 tennis match between Billie Jean King, then the 29-year-old Wimbledon champion, and Bobby Riggs, a 55-year-old hustler long past his prime, is astonishingly effective in capturing the look of the people and places. I'm a guy of the 70s, so that's what I love this movie. I just like the clothes and the attitude, and everything was funny about it. Like, all right, goes on. Appearances aside, the movie faithful, how real life is it? For the most part, Battle of the Sexes is actually remarkably true to the facts. It does take some liberties. The film suggests that Riggs' preparation for his match against King consisted of endless photo stunts, excessive partying, and a regimen of pills dispensed by an odd man. According to the next series, in real life, Blair was hopping. Yeah, he had like a nutritional guru. Bobby Riggs hired. This is gold. This is real life. Bobby Riggs hired Hollywood's top nutritional guru to prepare him for the match against Billie Jean King. The vitamin czar who had put the bubble back into Lauren's Welk and spread an extra layer of sheen on the shine of the hard-working Liberace. In preparation for his contest against Court, Blair put Riggs on a regimen of 415 vitamins a day. Unlike the movie, Bobby Riggs actually did prepare very hard for the Billie Jean King match, spending as much as 6 hours a day practicing. All right, so here's about the gambling. All right, so this was the funny part about the movie. The lack of, all right, so basically they're saying that people were wondering whether he threw the fucking match against Billie Jean King. Many people have speculated that Riggs, being the hustler that he was, had intentionally actually thrown the match, that maybe he bet against himself. The strongest claim was in a 2013 story by ESPN, the magazine. Riggs made no effort to hide the extent of his gambling habit. A 1973 Sports Illustrated profile described Bobby Riggs and his best friend, Lauren Cool, betting on everything from tennis games to memory contests, from the turn of a coin to the flight of a robin. Get this. This is real life, too. He annoyed both Billie Jean King and his own team of supporters by spending the break after the first set trying to negotiate odds with a bookie in the stands. Still, Riggs denied ever throwing the match, claiming he simply underestimated Billie Jean King. This is how big this was, though. On September 20th, the Houston Astrodome had 30,472 people, still the largest ever crowd for a tennis match. And the Battle of the Sexes was watched by 90 million motherfucking people. That's bigger than the Super Bowl and shit. This is what's really funny in the movie too with Bobby Riggs. Steve Carell nails the character too. He's such a hustler that all he cares about is trying to make as much money as he can. Like, he's not rich, right? Like, so he's like a degenerate gambling washed up tennis player. So he's trying to hustle as much as he can. So he comes up with his sponsor, Sugar Daddy. And he's wearing this fucking jacket. Except it's hot as fuck in the Houston Astrodome during the match. And he wears the jacket during the match. So, and it's funny, they say to him in the movie, and I'm seeing here it's true, that his fucking coach said to Riggs, he goes, dude, he goes, you got to take the jacket off, man. Like, Bobby Riggs is 55, he's sweating. And Billie Jean King made him run. That was her strategy. She really made him run around the court. And it's fucking hilarious. He goes, I can't take the jacket off. I took $20,000 to wear it for the entire match. After he's losing and he gets pissed off and he fucking rips the jacket off. It's actually fucking funny, man. The gambling part, like, as a gambler, that's why I like the gambling parts. The memory contest. Yeah, we talked about it, betting on the out-of-town scoreboard on a video game. Hey, look at this. The Sacramento Kings are up 64-56. We're on the Kings in the over. Rad Rod, you saw that on TV, huh? I don't remember it. I was 4 years old. 3 years old. I remember like Billie Jean King and stuff when I was a kid, and I remember Bobby Briggs when I was a kid, but only because Bobby Riggs never had a good reputation. like in real life, like people didn't really like him or anything like that, So it's funny, like Steve Carroll, though, if Steve Carroll plays you, you're easier to like. $64-62. All right, let's get some points going in this Laker game. We're not getting enough points in the San Diego State-San Jose State game. We're not totally off the total, but I'd like to see it higher scoring. Really low scoring. Frickin' Boise and Fresno. Holy shit. Fresno scored 21 points in the first half. Holy motherfucker. Good thing we're winning the Lakers and the over here, man. Or the Kings and the over, because these college games aren't looking good. The in-game total right now is 125.5. Well, second half line is 70.5 in San Jose State and San Diego State. One thing I've noticed, San Jose State are fucking terrible, but they don't lose by like 1 million points every night. And you're not getting any value right now. They're plus 9.5 in the second half, so you're plus 18.5 as opposed to getting the 22 that you were getting. Fresno closed as 4-point favorites. They're losing by 11 at the half. I'm on over 142. It's fucking at 125.5 right now. It's fucking terrible. If you really want to get into some degenerate shit, the San Antonio Rampage and the St. John's Barracuda are tied up at 1. Little AHL hockey. I'm not going to say I've never bet on it. I bet on some AHL before. Once in a while, I'll jump in on an AHL in-game without knowing anything about it. I'll play a total or something. I know about the Toronto Marlies a bit. The Marlies actually play like 2 minutes from me, so not that matters about me knowing about them, but I do know about the Marlies just because I'm in Toronto. Or I can know about the Marlies. I'll put it that way. I know where to get Marley information. How's that? I see Marley highlights on TV and stuff too. Now the Lakers are going on a little run right now, 70-66. High scoring out of the gate here. They put up 31 points in less than 6 minutes' time. Oh, Rod, you're 58, so yeah, you would remember that then. That's awesome. She was running a football pool. That's great. Yeah, I don't know where to bet. Where do you bet OHL right now? Toronto Marlboros, yeah. You know what, Rod? I'm 47, and I have a good memory when I was a kid. But for me, like my first sports memories are sort of I kind of remember the Canadians in like 74, 75 type thing, going to games as a really young kid. But like my real sports first memories sort of kick in 1977. 1976, 1977, because the Canadians played the Flyers, I believe, in 76. And I remember the aftermath. I sort of remember being a kid and like, ooh, those Flyer guys are scary. And then, I remember all the Boston stuff. So 77. So like, I remember a lot of Muhammad Ali stuff and a lot of those great boxing matches and Wide World of Sports and all that stuff, Evel Knievel. But Billie Jean King, the Battle of Sexes, I was only 3 years old. That's fucking unbelievable. Adolfo, 1 for 15. I'm on the over in that game. Bodog has it, huh? Yeah, I remember Mizo had Quebec June. No, it was more than 2 days. They had it for like a week or two. Proline in Ontario did it, and it lasted like fucking 3 months. I was shocked. I was like, wow, I'm really surprised no one bitched about this in Ontario. And lo and behold, they bitched about it. It's like the OHL didn't know about it or something. Like, yeah, in Ontario, they had it. I used to bet with like a bookie website that had it. That's pretty good. I didn't know that Bodog had it. Yeah, if you follow Ontario OHL hockey and shit like that, you can make money on it for sure. One thing I remember, look at Vince Carter just dunked it. This guy's going to play forever. One thing I remember was, yeah, Sports Interact. Everybody used to have it, but they don't now, Gino. Same thing, if you remember, they used to have point spreads for the CIS playoff football. They never do now. I remember betting like $3,000 on the Vanier Cup one year on Manitoba. I was convinced they were going to win. They did, too. I had to sweat it out a bit. I won the bet. I put $4,000, I think. Fuck, I bet it at Pinnacle because they were crazy and were taking a lot of action on that game. But I nailed the Vanier Cup a couple of years in a row and CIS playoffs. Yet most books took it away. Yeah, that's the thing. They lower the limits and shit, right? Because they're going to get killed on that stuff. But, you know, it's funny because I remember the argument, too. I remember in Quebec, they were bitching in Ontario. They were like, you can't bet on teenagers. They're just kids. It's, you know, it's too much. And I remember like telling people, well, are you betting on tennis? You know, like, does anyone, you know, are you asking how old? What's the difference? Like, let me ask you, what's the difference of betting on an NCAA game and betting on an OHL hockey game? You're betting on a 17 or an 18-year-old kid, fuck. Either way. Exactly, Brett. Like, what's the moral issue here? I mean, there's professional tennis players at fucking 14 and shit. These Russian chicks and shit, they're 15 years old. You know, Maria Sharapova was in Wimbledon when she was 16 and shit. You know, she was already a star and a fashion model. Like, and well, you can't bet on her? Let me ask you guys, have you ever bet on this? And I have, and a lot of books have taken it away. Bet365 used to have in-game on it and shit, is the Little League World Series. I bet on, I actually melted down on the air once. And people were like, you're an asshole, you got a problem. I got mad on the air once about a kid down Arizona that made an error, fuck. It was actually, it was kind of funny, but I had money on Arizona in the Little League World Series, and the fucking kid let the ball go right through his leg. So I'm on the air live. And I said, you know, I know you're only 10 years old, 11 years old, kid, but I said, you know, and I said his name. I was like, come on, Billy, you got to make that play, man. I was like, you know, I'm just saying, you got to make that play. And I started getting madder. I was like, this is the Little League fucking World Series, man. You can't let that ball get into the outfield. And then the kid made another error later in the game. And I was like, this fucking kid's unbelievable. I remember I was on Sirius Satellite Radio, and the Sirius guys after, they were like, you know, we like your passion and stuff. It was kind of funny. It was a good bit, but you were really ripping a 12-year-old kid pretty hard, fuck. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. I was like, the same fucking kid again. I was like, get your shit together, Connor. He had like this really West Coast name too, fuck, like Cody or Connor. I was like, come on, Cody, fuck, man. And then, like, I remember I like slammed the desk. Like, I was like, fuck, the ball, fuck, it's the fucking air. I was like, this third baseman's killing them. People are like, chill out, dude. They're just kids, fuck. And then it became this big ethical thing, whether it was all right to bet on. They were like, are you betting on this stuff? I was like, well, why am I so mad? I said, you think I'm upset because Arizona lost in the Little League World Series because I didn't bet on it? I remember he was a little blonde kid at third base, fuck. You bet on Little League pitchers too. You watch, it's like, fuck, kid, man. You let it hang right over the plate, Timmy. It's like, Timmy, fuck. You should see like the Little League managers. Like they're such jerks too, eh? He's like, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you. And he's trying not to lose it because he knows he's on TV and shit. And it's not appropriate to yell at the kid, but it's like, he's like, you know, I don't know what's wrong with you. In the warm-up today, you were fine. It's usually like the manager, the kid's like the son. The kid's, I'm sorry, Dad. Sorry, Dad. There's a lot of pressure here. If I was a Little League manager, I'd tell the kids, I'd be like, I just want to let you kids know that this is the pinnacle of your life. It'll be nothing. This will be the biggest moment of your life. Nothing that happens in your life will be as big as you winning this Little League World Series. So if you kids fuck this up, you will forever be losers. Remember that. Now go out there and win the game. Sacramento's falling apart. I totally disagree. And that was the thing. That was the thing. There was a big debate whether it was unethical to bet on the Little League World Series. And I don't know. If it's on ESPN, it's not unethical to bet on it. It's as simple as that. It's on ESPN. They have sponsors. It's a professional event. It happens to be kids who aren't getting paid or getting ripped off, but it is a professional event. I'm not betting on Little League kids in the park. Anyways, the moral of the story is always bet on Asia, fuck. Moral of the story, don't if you're betting the Little League World Series, save yourself some grief and bet on Tokyo, all right? Japan and shit. Bet on the team from Tokyo. Exactly, Big Will. If there's a line, and like it's like high school football, like in Vegas, high school football betting was big with bookies and shit. And people are like, God, that's terrible. It's like, it's on TV, fuck. Like, what are you talking about? These fucking kids fucking are getting fucking envelopes and shit. Everyone settle down. You know, we're not betting on 6-year-olds. Like right now, I don't know. Like, does it matter? Oh, no, Lonzo Ball is only 19 years old. It's not my problem. Fuck, he's on TV. He's playing in a game right now. What am I supposed to do? Not bet on it? Brett Patterson, he's in Northern Brett Published Lines, high school football. That's awesome. What up, Jason versus Bosco? Yeah, exactly. It's like the NCAA. It's like the NCAA. Like the NCAA has all these rules and they don't want to pay anybody, but they make billions of dollars from the networks, and all the big NCAA executives are all millionaires. But it's immoral to bet on it, but it's not immoral to fucking be a pimp and let their fucking, you know, collect off their work. It's ridiculous. I'll be honest with you, and this is probably not something I'm proud to admit. When the Paralympics started, I was like, "Oh, Paralympics are on," and I was like, "Man, I got to support the Paralympic Games." And I sort of looked, and I couldn't find lines. I was like, "Wow." Same with the Special Olympics. Fuck. You guys really want to get some viewership for this shit? Fuck. Let us bet. Special Olympics, Paralympics, fucking whatever Olympics. Fuck. Just put numbers on it. Like, I don't understand why they don't get that. Like, people, I'm sure there's some like sport out there, like right now, like, some league. They're like, man, we got to get we got to get more publicity. Take bets on it. If people bet on a league, it doesn't matter. We'll watch it. Like if you told us right now, listen, fuck, it's the Senior Citizen Olympics. It's a bunch of old fucking dudes playing basketball, man. They're 70 years old, fuck. We'd be like, but there's lines. We'd be like, all right, well, all right, let's take a look. What's the roster look like? You know what I mean? I mean, people bet on animals racing each other, fuck. We'll bet on anything. But give us a number for it. Yeah, the gay games. I bet on the gay games. Competitive eating? I have bet on competitive eating. I have bet on competitive eating. I always bet on the Nathan's hot dog stuff. Now, the thing is, Stooch, I don't think you have a problem betting on the Special Olympics. I think the thing is, we all have to say, though, if we bet on the Special Olympics, there's no criticizing. That's the key. Like, it's not like, the Little League World Series, I can yell at the little kid. Fucking little fucking piece of shit. You know what I mean? You bet on the Special Olympics, you accept it. You can't be like, I can't believe this kid missed a free throw. Fuck. You've got to accept it. Yeah, you've got to accept it. You bet on a Special Olympics basketball game and a kid throws the ball out of bounds. You can't be like, I can't believe you did that. It's like, well, good job. All right, it's all right. We'll get it back. We're gonna get the ball back. You gotta be positive. People bet on the world. Look at this. Good example is, look, people bet on the World Junior Championships, the hockey. People bet on the World Junior Championship, their kids. Fucking Team Canada is making tens of millions of dollars off of that, like hundreds of millions of dollars off of these kids. I don't participate in death pools. I'm with Muhammad. I don't bet on death pools. Fucking Sacramento's falling apart. I'll bet on movies. I bet on movie openings, premieres, you name it. I pretty much bet on it, but I agree. I don't bet on death stuff. I have bet on pro wrestling, yes. I have bet on pro wrestling. Well, is pro wrestling any fixed than a stupid Big Ten game that we just watched? I'll bet on pro wrestling. Like when WrestleMania comes up, we'll break it down from a gambling perspective. I'm not that much of a degenerate that I'm going to sit here and bet on every Monday Night Raw. Not the books don't have lines for everything. But I'll bet a pay-per-view wrestling, or I'm not above it. I'm not above it. I like to partake in the WrestleMania parties and get in on some WrestleMania action. No, I didn't bet on figure skating back then, but I was totally around back then. I remember that story totally. Yeah, I hear that movie's good, man. I just checked out the Billie Jean King movie. Yeah, man, like Brock Lesnar, exactly. Thing with wrestling is, I've done well with wrestling a few times, but I got to be honest. Like the last few years, I got my ass handed to me. One year at WrestleMania it wasn't this year; it was 2 years ago. I basically put like fucking $200 on like every underdog, like every underdog, $125, whatever the limit was. And I was like, man, because there was these crazy lines. I was like, fuck, if just one of them fucking wins, and none of them did, man. And you want to talk about getting mad? I was fucking pissed, man. I told you guys the story actually. You want to talk about a bad beat? I forget who was wrestling against each other. It was The Rock was the special guest referee. No, Shawn Michaels was the guest referee, and it was like The Rock's comeback. I don't know who the fuck it was. All I remember was Shawn Michaels was the guest referee. And I hate Shawn Michaels. And I needed the bet. I had like $400 on the match. I lost a bunch of matches already. I was like, man, I need to win this fucking. I'm like plus 200 here. I'm going to get this. So, and the thing is, it said at the Sportsbook, all results from WWE.com are final. So, you guys, someone will remember the match, man. I fucking won the fucking match, okay? I think it was John Cena, fuck. I fucking won the fucking match. The wrestling match, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I just fucking hit like $700 on this. And I let me like pretext that I nearly got into a fight with Shawn Michaels once and shit. Like, I don't like the guy, he doesn't like me, he doesn't like Montreal, like whatever. So I hate Shawn Michaels, or I don't like him. I've never liked him. And fucking we win the match, and Shawn Michaels, the special guest referee, is like, no, we're going to an extra round or whatever. Total wrestling promo bullshit. I swear to God, I'm sitting here, I was watching, and I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I'm like, this is fucking the most crazy. And I'm like, I can't believe I bet on this fight. And I'm like, this is bullshit. The thing is, though, I thought I won. They announced the winner and everything. Like in the ring, like I'm like, yeah, fuck, I won. And like 5 minutes later, they got like all angle-ish on it. No, special guest referee Shawn Michaels says that he stepped out of the ring, and they fucking, I was like, fuck off. I was like, well, I knew what I was getting myself into. Yeah, NCAA wrestling is a lot of books do now, Craig West. I bet on the NCAA wrestling. That's real shit. But yeah, a lot of books have that now. That popularity keeps growing all the time. No, I didn't bet on the Montreal screw job. You couldn't bet on wrestling in those days, but I was there for the Montreal screw job. I was in the arena. Lakers up 86-76. I was in the arena. At the Montreal screw job. And I remember that night, too. The Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers played. It was Sunday Night Football, and I won. I was fucking wasted that night. I was fucking wasted at the Montreal Screwjob. I drank all fucking day, looking forward to the night. And I bet on NFL football all day. I went to Super Sex, the strip club. It was like a shit show. And I think I won like every bet. It was one of those days. I remember I was in a really good mood, like when I went to the wrestling and stuff. I remember like leaving, fucking throwing shit, like fucking. So it was a near riot. I thought the generals were due. He's using a freaking ladder. This fucking Laker King game is slowing down right now. Fuck, these teams are shit. Wow, San Diego State have exploded here. They've outscored San Jose State 16-2 in the first 5 minutes. This is not the way I wanted to end this night. It's not the position I want to be in. Like Bobby Knight, do not put me in this position. Yeah, nobody likes the Heartbreak Kid. He really is a dick. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy, toy. Once I went to a wrestling, I told you guys, I used to go to a lot of wrestling and cause shit. And sack for 3, boom. And if you remember a long time ago, Shawn Michaels got his neck broken in Syracuse in a bar fight. He got attacked. And me and my buddies were chanting Syracuse all night at him and shit. He didn't like it very much. So yeah, so Shawn Michaels wasn't a fan. And another time, Shawn Michaels was there, and we were in the front row, and he was shaking people's hands. So he's coming out and he's shaking people's hands, and my buddy fucking shook Shawn Michaels' hand, except he didn't let go of Shawn Michaels' hand. He fucking like pulled Shawn Michaels into the barrier. And he's like, I fucking hate you, you piece of shit. Fucking. Like, we used to be out of hand. Like, I know a lot of crazy dudes. I went to a Motley Crue concert once, and my fucking buddy started throwing coins at him. Fuck. Like, Vince Neil spit in the crowd, and Vince Neil hit my buddy like with spit. My buddy took out like a fucking bunch of change, and he fucking whipped it at Vince Neil. And Motley Crue picked the change up and started throwing it back at us. And fucking, it was like, it got pretty ugly. We got kicked out. And so, yeah, and we're in like the 5th row, so right in the front. And fucking, and I told him, I was like, no, what are you doing? I was like, we're gonna get kicked out. I wasn't me. And then I got hit with a coin, so I was all pissed off. Like fucking Nikki Sixx like hit me in the head with a fucking coin. So like, you know, we're throwing coins and shit, and it was like a spit fest, fuck. So we're throwing coins, and fucking Motley Crue are throwing coins back at us. And then fucking the spitting started, fuck. So they're spitting at us, and we're spitting back at them. And it's like two of fucking coins. And I'm all pissed off because I like Motley Crue. But shit turned fucking, you know, whatever, man. Things went from 0 to 60 pretty fast. So then they're like, all right. And Vince Neil's like, all right, put the spotlight on these guys. And then they put the spotlight on us. Fuck. There's like 18,000 people there and shit. And then Vince Neil's like, oh, look at this. It looks like there's 4 faggots going home early tonight. Fuck. He's like, why don't you guys go home and suck each other's dicks? Everyone in the arena's laughing at us and shit. Ah, ha, ha. Fucking, you suck. Fuck. We're getting fucking ripped out. Fucking security. I was pissed at my buddies. I'm like, what are you, a fucking idiot throwing money? What are you throwing coins at Mick Mars for? He's like, man, well, he fucking spit. He's like, I don't know if it was Vince Neil or Mick Mars, man, but one of them spit on me. He's like, I'm not taking that shit. He goes, I don't even like these guys. I was only here for Queensryche. Fuck. So fucking... I remember telling the security, I was like, hey, man, I barely know these guys, fuck, hey? Like, I was all like, hey, don't kick me out. They're like, no, you guys are all getting kicked out. So... you can't make this shit up, all right? So basically, 2 years later, Motley Crue come back to Montreal. And now, 2 years later, Motley Crue come back. I should note, the first time ever I went to Motley Crue, I did a bunch of acid and lost my shoe at their concert. It was a nightmare. I was walking around with one shoe all night and shit. So another time we get the coin incident. So Motley Crue come to Montreal again. And now this time, I think it's the Theater of Pain tour. And I remember like this time, because I like Motley Crue. And I was like, all right, I'm not going with anybody. I'm not even going to tell people I'm going. It's like, I don't want any incidences. I don't want to get kicked out. I don't want anything happening. So I don't want anything, happening. So I go to see Motley Crue. I'm in the front row, fuck. All right? Literally the front row. And you can't make this up, fuck. This is 2 years after I got hit, with the coins and all that shit. So I'm standing there in the front row, enjoying the show. I'm sort of just, rocking out. Standing there, and fucking Tommy Lee throws the fucking drumstick at me. But not like deliberately, but he fucking zings like a drum fucking stick. Except I'm all wasted and shit, man. So I see the drumstick coming sort of like fucking fast. And I put my hand up. It fucking hit me right in the fucking face. Right in the eye, in the face. So, like I said, man, I used to do a lot of acid and coke in those days when I was a kid, too. So I'm like, oh, I'm hit. Fuck. So I'm like, I fucking go down, man. All right. I get hit in the face and I'm thinking, what the fuck? I'm like, this is like the third time my Motley Crue. Like, I'm like, did he hit me again? So like, I'm fucking down. And then all these fucking people, they all fucking jump on me for the fucking drumstick and shit. So I'm lying on the ground and fucking all these Motley Crue fans are like jumping on me for this stupid fucking drumstick. And then after, one of the Motley Crue roadies came up to me and shit. He's like, are you all right? Like, my eyes all like fucking puffy. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. And he's like, oh, here you go. And the guy hands me like a bunch of guitar picks and drumsticks and shit and like a pass. Except the same thing happened. All these people start circling around me and I'm all drunk. I'm dropping drumsticks and shit. Finally, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't even want these things. So I'm giving them away to hot chicks and shit. I'm like, here you go, baby. I'm like, well, I had all these. I had Mick Mars guitar picks for like 5 years. Fuck. I didn't like them though because they were thin. They were soft. But yeah, I had Mick Mars guitar picks for like 5 years. I had so many Mick Mars guitar picks after that. I think that was the time Cinderella was playing with him. And I went backstage and I fucking stole Cinderella's beer. Fuck. Yeah, I went down like a soccer player, Jason. I did. I was like, I'm hit. Fuck. Man, when I was like fucking 16, when I was 16, Megadeth were playing in Montreal at the Spectrum. And Dave Mustaine had his backstage pass like sticker on his fucking like jeans and like on his leg. And I was right in the front. All I did is I reached up and I just peeled it off his leg. Fuck. So I peeled the fucking Dave Mustaine sticker off of his leg and I slapped it on my jacket. I walked right backstage when fucking Megadeth were on the stage. And same shit. I fucking went and I started drinking all this beer. Like, I basically stole Megadeth's beer. Fuck. So I was like, this is awesome. Fuck. They're on the stage. There's no one here. And there's all this booze, man. So I'm like sticking booze in my jacket and shit. And then fucking, so I'm all drunk and I didn't even care after. So I'm standing there and security's not doing anything. They see me coming in and out of backstage and shit. They're not saying anything to me because I got this pass on. I'm just a kid. I'm like underage. I shouldn't even be in the fucking bar. And after the show, Megadeth come in the room. And I'm sort of like outside their room, fuck. And right away, Mustaine's like, are you a little fucker that ripped my pass off my leg? And I was like, yeah. Yeah. And he goes, man, that's pretty fucking crazy, man. And he's like, whatever. And Megadeth were like, you can stay, kid. And started drinking and fucking, getting wasted with him and shit. And then the guitarist, we got a troll in here that stalks me every night. It's nice. It's nice that you get to live your life vicariously through me, at least. So yeah, Chris Poland was in the band. It was the original Megadeth. They weren't really major yet, They were playing at the Spectrum in Montreal. And I could have been a roadie with Megadeth. Chris Poland's like, hey kid, you want to come out on the road and fucking, handle our fucking tech shit, the cables and junior roadie type stuff. I was all in too. Then I started to realize like they offered me like $25 a night or something. Fuck. I was like, yeah. And then I started to think, I was like, man, what happens if I'm like fucking, shit doesn't work out? I'm just going to get stuck in some town somewhere. And plus, Dave Mustaine was cool at first, but then I could tell the guy was a dick. Was Greg taken out by accident? Oh, I undid Greg. Greg's all right. We undid him. Guns N' Roses, yeah. I was at the Riot show in Montreal for the Riot Guns N' Roses. I haven't seen Guns N' Roses a million times. I saw them at the Riot show. I saw them open up for the Cult before they were big. I got wasted with that Izzy guy before. Or not Izzy, but who's the replacement to Izzy? That guy. He had his own band after. He was actually pretty good, too. What was his name? I don't know. I've noticed they have a different moderating system here recently, SBR. I love it, though. I love the trolls, though. Yeah, Gibby. That was the guy, Gibby. He's a nice guy, Gibby. I love the trolls, though. This fucking pathetic loser. It's one fucking pathetic loser. that he's like, oh, Morency's lying. He's broke. It's like, fucking kid, you haven't left your fucking basement. You fucking have your hand in your dick and your other hand in a computer watching everything I do 32 hours a day while I'm standing in a fucking luxury condo in another city while I'm playing concerts, while I'm hosting TV shows. As I stated, I appreciate your daily support. You help my viewership go up. The only thing that I'm lying about is I'm lying when I say that I hope you don't die an early death. That's the only thing I'm lying about. Like you getting run over by a bus tomorrow would be a good thing for society. Like you getting shot in the back of the head randomly outside of a bar would be a good thing. Like I said, every time I see the news and I'm like, random person gets shot outside a nightclub, I'm thinking, fuck, can that be that troll, please? That's the only thing I'm lying about. When I say I don't wish any bodily harm on you, then I'm lying. But other than that, I'm pretty honest. Other than that, we're pretty honest. 97-84, not looking good right now for the Sacramento Kings. $57-32. San Diego State messing up by 27 right now, 59-32. Like, that's the sad thing. That's the sad thing in this world. You have nice, innocent people that bad things happen to. I need to get other fuck faces, but whatever. Trolls really don't bother me. A lot of things in life bother me. Trolls are not one of them. Losing money on the Sacramento Kings, that bothers me. Come on, man. You guys missing layups and man, the show ain't going over, fuck. What a disaster this fourth quarter is for Sacramento, eh? Just a bunch of fucking losers, man. Guys, the fourth quarter of this game is 13-10. Great basketball, fuck. This is the NBA. 13-10. The Sacramento Kings have scored 10 points in 10 minutes. And De'Aaron Fox misses another layup. Like, they can't even hit a fucking layup. There's an air ball. Like, this is like worse than the Australian League type shit. Like, I think the New Zealand Breakers could beat either one of these teams. Like, they can't, like, it's... We're getting 9 points. They're down by 11 with 147 left. Come on. I haven't done it in a little while. We need Lord Gambler to step up and in. What a train wreck. I've been on a nice run recently, too, for the last 4 or 5 days, and we just hit the wall. I don't know, you believe this, Rod? You watching this shit? Like, the King kids are right under the basket. They're missing layups constantly. Sacramento can't even pass the ball. Look at these fucking kids. Fuck. They're the worst basketball team I've seen in my life. Air ball. That is the worst fucking basketball I've seen in my fucking life, man. I swear to God, I can fucking go into any prison in America and find you a better 5 team that fucking guys than this fucking Sacramento King team, man. You watched that last minute there? They couldn't even like complete a pass. Like air balls, passes, like holy fuck, man. You guys deserve like to get paid $40 for that game. Holy shit, fuck, I was angry. 10 fucking points, fuck. Fucking pieces of fucking shit. Fucking bunch of fucking cocksuckers, man. Fuck. Bullshit. It's fucking frustrating. Gonna lose money on games I didn't even fucking like. Fuck. Oh, God. Get out of here, John Harvard. Fuck. So we hit the wrong guy. Friendly fire. Yes, I think they are. Yeah, we didn't have the dislike bots. We just got one guy gets kicked out, comes back in. I just speak to SBR though. They fucked up with the moderator thing here. All right, motherfuckers. We need a miracle. Fresno State are chipping away here. They're coming back. I hate ending with a loss, so I'm going to jump on Fresno here. I'm going to jump on Fresno plus 4.5. I'm going to pray for fucking overtime, too. San Jose State, or it's fuck. San Diego State did their job, man. You know, they put up 70 points. I thought they'd put up like 80 or so. San Jose State have only scored 15 points, though, in the second half. And with that, we bid adieu. Aussie Soccer League. No, I undid him, Bosco. Harvard, you know, yeah. I don't know who John Harvard is, to be honest with you. But no, we undid it. It's all right. Yeah, buy some dislikes. We're the losers, and you're going to buy dislikes. And we're the losers. Hey, fuckstick, I get paid to host this show. Unless you're getting paid to troll me, I'm winning. If you're getting paid, you know, big money to troll me, then, you know, then you got something going on, kid. Unless you're getting paid, then you're just a fucking, I don't know, a loser. Oh, the PBA Cup in 1 hour. That's what we need to add to a fucking an end. We had a good night until this fucking end of the night. And, you know, recently I've been doing well because I've been staying away from these stupid late night games that I don't like. So let's raise the ante and jump into a fucking PBA game right now. PBA Cup. Kia Picanto, Magnolia Hotshots, Alaska Aces, and the Mercado Bolts. I like the Bolts in the over. Bolts -2 and over 191.5. Bolts -2 and over 191.5. The other one, Kia Patanto and Magnolia, kind of lean with the underdog, to be honest with you. Team Kia. No, I think yeah, I'm sure a teacher at Harvard wants everyone to know in a sports betting chat room that he's a professor at Harvard. I think the Saints are going down. The PBA is the Filipino Basketball Association. And we were talking about you want to be a degenerate. Let's see, Kia Picanto. Holy shit. Listen to Kia. Their last 2 games, 119, 115, 125, 102. Yeah, the hot shot shouldn't be 10-point favorites, though. Let's see. Hot Shots are a little lower scoring team. Alaska Aces. The 204 is pretty high, but it doesn't look like Picanto play any defense at all. I'd take that +10. This is real degen shit. It's in 2.5 hours only, too. It's at 3:30 in the fucking morning. But if you're a real degen, you want to bet on some overnight basketball, my professional opinion is Kia Picanto +10, over 204. The Bolts are pretty good. Mercalo has been pretty good to me. Like out of all these teams here, the Bolts can put points up on the board. That's what I'm saying. 191 is a little low for the total there against the Alaska Aces. But the Aces are on a little bit of a skid right now. I'm going to bet this shit. We're going to get this late night NBA back with a better league than the NBA, the PBA. So let's go with the Mercalo Bolts -2, over 191.5. And we'll take Kia Picanto +10, over 204. There's 4 late night extra DGen special plays right there. Well, I just say that, John Harvard, because Harvard is one of the most prestigious universities in the world. It's like someone saying, I work with NASA. The Australian Open, I didn't realize this shit. Is this the Australian? That's not the Australian Open, is it? Doesn't. There it is. Oh, it's the open qualification shit. I see you talking about John Isner. When's John Isner play? One thing about John Isner, is always take the over in his matches. Always take the over. John Isner, for some fucking reason, I swear to God, especially in these major tournaments, When the Australian Open starts, I'll bet the over sets and over game prop. We'll bet some Australian Open tennis because it'll be on late at night. When's the Australian Open start? Like on the 14th, right? Sunday night or something like that? What up, Juggernaut? What up, Brian Cartwright? Great times in Vancouver, man. That's the thing. He's got a great serve and not much else. So it goes back and forth, and you get a ton of games. Like, I'm telling you, over the years, I've made a shitload of money, man, betting the over in John Isner matches. Yeah, there'll be betcasts for all the football games. I don't know which game I'll be doing yet, but there'll be games. But we got to get out of here. Ooh, I'm on Fresno plus 4.5. They've cut the lead to 2.5. Take this son of a bitch to overtime, man. Oh, and guys, we've got over 135. We've got over 135 in the San Jose State game. They've gotten all the way to fucking 130 right now with 40 seconds left. San Jose State are on the free throw line too, actually. Damn, we're going to miss this game by like 2 points or something. Thanks, Ryan. It was a pleasure meeting you down there, man. Yeah, we'll come to California one day, Johnny. We did one road rage once. I used to live in LA, but I wasn't on the radio or TV when I lived in LA. I was in a band. But I've done one show once in LA, and it was a fucking crazy night. It was a great time. It was an epic road rage. Crazy time, man. Fucking, and we did it in Century City there by this movie studios, and we went to Hollywood. Motherfucker. We're going to get to 133. Oh, we had over 135. We had over 135. It lands at 130 fucking 4. Of course. All right, guys. So as we stated, you want that Filipino basketball on the way out. This shit's at like 2:30 in the morning. And then at like 5 in the morning. It's real overnight stuff, but it's going on here tonight. We're taking Kia Picanto plus the 10. We're going over 204. We're taking the Mercado Bolts minus the 2 over 191.5. Thanks to everyone for coming to Vancouver. We're going to set up a live show for the next couple of months somewhere else. And we'll see you motherfuckers tomorrow. Other than that, you're on your own. May the winners be yours. Later. Come on, Lord Gambler. Overtime in Fresno. Come on, buddy. Later, guys.